It's time for MacBreak Weekly. Andy, Alex, and Jason are in the house. We have lots to talk about, some really cool information for you about Apple's new warranty program and why, if you have multiple Apple devices, it might be a good deal. Apple takes its thumb off the scales for developers, at least in some respects. And then we're going to take a look at all the 26s. The public betas are here, and we've got an analysis from Jason Snell, Andy Anako, and Alex Lindsay. MacBreak Weekly is next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 983, recorded Tuesday, July 29th, 2025, the Saggy quarter. It's time for MacBreak Weekly, the show where we get together and chat about Apple with Jason Snell, who's in the foothills.
No, I'm not. I'm at home. What are you talking about?
I mean, he's at home in the foothills.
I'm using the orange mic. The orange mic is a tell that I'm not in my usual spot. Hey, let's talk about
wait a
apples.
minute.
We'll talk
you
about
have color
Kiwi
code. You have color-coded locations?
So it's Doc Rock, right? Doc Rock, he has his little Doc Pops that he sells. And I got two. I got one for my my setup in my office, which is a SM7B, and it's blue.
Yeah.
And I got for my MV7 that's usually in the room in the back of the house that I use in the winter. I have an orange one, and I'm traveling. And the fact that my background looks like my office and I've got an orange Doc Pop on here it's a giveaway that it's all a lie.
Purple is in the garage.
Blue in the garage.
And orange is in the foothills.
Elsewhere.
Or elsewhere.
Elsewhere. Iona, foothills, or just in the back of my house because I'm cold. One of those. Hi.
Okay.
Let's talk about apples.
Apples and oranges.
And not oranges.
Also here, Andy Anako, Anako.com. Hello, Andrew.
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
How are you today?
Oh, goodness. It's. I almost did the show from my home office today because
how exciting.
Well, because I have one room with an open window in my house, and if it's so hot that I can feel the heat radiating in from that open window, it's like, why am I trying to even walk 3/4 of a mile to a mile today? It is really, really nasty.
The library's like those old movie theaters. They have a big banner outside with letters and icicles saying, come on in, it's cold inside.
I packed the nice black golf shorts so I look professional, but I'm still too hot to wear any layers over the...
Are you not wearing pants right now?
I am wearing shorts.
Okay.
I have...
Okay.
and even that, I don't wear shorts unless it's super hot outside because I'm dumpy looking enough, I think, that I will look like a bum if I don't if I don't dress up a little bit. So I have one nice pair of shorts and I'm wearing them today. I'm sorry.
It's nice
but
to
I do have a
I must say you have a t-shirt with a breast pocket, which is pretty interesting.
This is one of those super it's basically made out of plastic.
Yeah.
So it's like wearing nothing at all, but you have to wash them 3 times a day because they really trap the what. Anyway.
Yes.
Hi.
Wow, this ended up being a little more sartorial information.
I just want pity. That's all I'm asking for today. I'm asking for pity.
Alex Lindsay is here. We are nice and cool in beautiful Northern California.
Cargo shorts for me. That's and hiking boots, which is a little dorky. I'm taking on walking after every meal.
Oh, that's good. No, that's a good thing to do. That's what happens when you wear that glucose monitor. You start walking. You're like,
so I wander off into the woods every after each meal just for a 10 or 20 minute walk, and so I'm usually in hiking shoes.
Do you go for a walk after every podcast as well?
No, but I usually eat right after the podcast. That means I am going to walk after the podcast. So yeah.
Well, we have the public betas. They have arrived. Woohoo! And even though I cautioned myself against it, I couldn't help it. I installed it on both my Macs. I did not do it on my iPhone, actually, but I did do it on both my iPads.
I'm waiting on the phone. I use the phone too much, and I don't have a backup phone anymore because I gave it to my son. And so I'm kind of I'm not ready for things to freeze. I think I'm gonna.
It's not going to freeze. It's just going to kill your battery. That's what it's going to do.
Okay. I'm not sure.
It's actually going to the opposite of freeze. It's going to burn you.
Yeah. It runs. Yeah. It runs hot and it kills the battery.
Yeah. So I'm working on the iPad
runs hot too. We now know. but he doesn't have a battery. I was, at first, this ugly new thing, it really pissed me off. I wasn't pleased, but I've gotten used to it now, and it's okay. I'm talking about the iPad. I do like the windowing. That actually turned out to be more useful than I thought. I now keep a few little windows open, which is great.
It's very disorienting on the iPad. Like I'm getting used to it, but it's just like this feels like it does feel like a Mac. It feels like suddenly I've got like just apps open.
It's almost there. I just have to turn off every other windowing aid that they've added because it's still very confusing that if you're giving me a windowing experience that feels like a Mac, I want to say, oh, add another window. Absolutely. So add another window. No, I've got a full screen and I've got a new workspace. Like, no, that's not what I wanted. I wanted these two windows side by side. But yeah, it is kind of freaky to wind up being like, have the one of the things I missed about slide over, like the original version of iPad multitasking, is that the thing is that on an iPad with a smaller screen, it's not necessarily about overlapping windows so much as the two things I want front and center I want to be able to work on. So I like the idea that you'd always have two things side by side and they're tiled, so I don't have to worry about like arranging things. I like the fact that they've brought the Mac tiling up into the iPad, so I can simply say, I want this in the upper left quadrant, I want this in the lower left quadrant, I want this to be entirely in the left side of the screen.
So you tile them. See, I've been using overlapping.
I do, not always, but it's like I've always been a big fan of tiling. If you have a big enough screen, I want a window manager that will let me never have to like click something to uncover something else. I think that's very, very possible. And on that iPad, it's less. Whereas on my Mac, I might have like 10 windows, 20 windows open at the same time. On the iPad, it tends to be I'm focused on one task, but I have a PDF that I want to read to get notes from the side.
Tiling makes sense. And it's also not that big a screen. If I tiled on my giant monitor, I'd have to be looking like up and to the left and down and to the right. It wouldn't be great. I have to say, though, because Alt-Tab works very nicely on the iPad, I'm really using the iPad kind of like my Mac now.
Yeah, and it's got to become more important because I'm still using this iPad as like an iPad with a keyboard and a trackpad. The ability to put like several external displays on an iPad, this is going to be much, much more important to have workspace management like absolutely on lock. I'm certainly going to give it a try, but it's going to be freaky as hell. The idea of having iPad apps that are a true desktop multi-screen environment for me. It's going to take some time getting used to, but I'm really this is the reason why, like, this is the first I didn't put any of the betas on my MacBook, but I was definitely going to be putting the first public beta on my iPad because of these features, because they're going to be so useful for my workflows, and because I don't want to still be annoyed by the differences in September. And this way to do that is to get in on them about a month early.
Jason, you and Dan Morin over at Six Colors seem less than happy with Liquid Glass, and you also quote Harry McCracken, who's concerned that it's steering the iPad in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I don't agree with Harry, but I get he thinks that especially the simplicity of split view and slide over is something that he's used all the time. Harry uses the iPad as his primary computer, basically. I mean, we all know Harry, he's really smart, and I think it's worth listening to somebody so committed to the iPad talk about what he thinks that this has lost. He feels like it was more of a unique experience, and now it's just kind of like Mac Lite. And I totally see that. I don't think I agree, but I totally see it. I will say there is split view. You can do split view. It's not like it was, but you can tile, as Andy said. If you do tile left and right, it actually puts the little gap down the middle with the little sliders so that you can choose the split view. It's basically split view in there. Slide over, though, I have heard from a bunch of people who loved slide over, and the reason slide over is not a part of
tell us what slide over is.
Slide over is a thing that's really easy to get to by accident, which is a problem, but you basically put an app off the side of the screen, and then you swipe from the right edge, and this little narrow version of an app comes in briefly, and you can do something on it, and then you swipe it away and it disappears. That's
one thing I noticed. It's a little weird. I had never used that, and all of a sudden a lot of my apps are in that little wedge on the right of the screen.
Yeah, so
that's something that it's kind of more more present now because of these smaller windows.
Right. So slide over was like the easy little basic multitasking that you could do. And I think a lot of people, and I'm not one of them, but a lot of people really said, oh, I like this idea if I can just take an app and have it available on demand off the side. And if I were Apple and I were listening to feedback, I would be processing that and saying, oh, we always viewed, because I think they did, always viewed slide over as a compromise to do something like multitasking on the iPad way back when. And that now that they've got this, they don't need it anymore. And
But
I
it's
think
still
actually,
there, isn't it?
It's not. Slide over.
Oh.
You can just stick a window off to the side. You can
see.
do that. But like this idea of a utility drawer with an app in it, like I think based on what I'm hearing, there is sort of a use case for this, and it would be great if the people working on this multitasking feature thought, okay, what's behind that? Again, the goal is not to say, oh, give them back slide over. The goal is what motivates people to say, I really miss slide over. I think listening to people like Harry talk about what's been lost, when I think that by all accounts, this new multitasking feature is amazing. It really is very, very good. The fact that some people are still kind of like sad for what they lost, like I think they killed slide over because it was way too easy for regular users to put an app into slide over and then not understand where the app went and why it was there and how to get rid of it. And that's a serious usability concern too. Yeah,
I thought we still had slide over because I still see stuff over. It's over in the right on the gutter. There's a little window corner. That's not. I thought that was. Isn't that slide over?
That is, but it's gone in.
No, it's not. I still have it.
No, you.
In fact,
I think you have a window
placed
that
themselves there.
When you're expose, it's off there and off the edge of the screen, and you tap to bring it back. But I think that's not the same thing.
Okay.
So I mean, I think there are some valid points there because Apple did maybe threw the baby out with the bathwater. It's possible. This new thing is great, but like I'm open to the idea that of what Harry is saying suggests that there are some unexplored aspects of iOS or iPadOS productivity that maybe this version, as good as it is, has kind of left by the wayside. I think it's worth listening to those people who are noting those things.
A good example of using slide over, Alex Howard, our club member, says he's used it for his password manager for years. So having it always kind of there when you need it is.
Yeah, my guess is that they've heard this feedback, and that the challenge is they've got this expose view where you swipe up from the bottom. I wonder if they will create a tile format or something in expose or something that kind of replicates the quick flip it out. Like I really like picture in picture is a great example. You can put picture in picture off the screen, right? And it just like pokes out and says, I'm here still playing, but you can't see me. You could do that with a window, right? You could have the concept of docking a window to the side and having it just kind of like, it's still there and there's a little arrow. And when you tap, it kind of slides out. You could do that. So maybe they will go down that path.
Do a feedback, folks, if you're using the beta and say,
yeah, let them know.
Bring back
let them know.
slide over.
Because I think they just didn't understand that people used this feature. They thought it was a compromise, and it's actually a productivity feature.
Yeah, but when you think about it, I think it's a bigger challenge. Window management and task management on the iPad is a bigger challenge than Apple has on any other platform, because again, at the maximum, you're dealing with a device that can have multiple external displays at once, and at the minimum, it's not just the iPad Mini. Now it's going to be the iPhone Fold, which the rumor this week is that it's like actually going to be much, much smaller than you expect it to be. So that's, with the smaller the screen, the more you need things like slide over, and the more you need things like side-by-side split view and stuff like that. So my hat's off. It's a big challenge to set up for themselves. I'm surprised that they haven't forked the platform at all. Like they haven't decided to call certain iPads, oh, now this is the iPhone Maximus.
They don't want to do that. God, have two different user interfaces.
Or something like, no, not necessarily, but basically say that we're going to put these tools on these platforms and these tools on these platforms. You will not necessarily, because we don't feel as though this slide over is relevant for a larger screen. However, we know it's essential on other things. Again, it's a wonderful, wonderful challenge, and it bespeaks the unity of Apple platforms.
You've been so busy, Jason, with your reviews. Also the macOS Tahoe public beta review.
Right.
How many thousands of words did you write about 26?
Dan Morin and I together dropped 15,000 words last Thursday. So it was a lot coming. macOS. I mean, the thing is, macOS Tahoe is great. It adds a bunch of features that especially power users, people who watch shows like this will, I think, really love. Spotlight stuff, automation in shortcuts.
I have to say, I said, oh, good, I can turn off Raycast and use Spotlight. I did it for about 3 seconds and went right back to Raycast. So real power users may not want to.
I turned off Launch Bar, which I've used for 15 years, and I still haven't gone back.
Oh, interesting.
Honestly. Okay. But I think there's something to be said. The whole idea, this goes back to like the idea of Sherlocking, right? Which is Apple should create good new features for the Mac. That should happen, even if there are utilities that used to fill the gap. Sure. There should be clipboard history in the Mac, right? It doesn't, when Apple implements it, they're implementing it for like the middle 80% or whatever. The use cases on the edges, Apple is not going to bother with, and that's where third-party utilities can live. And I've heard from a bunch of like super power user clipboard utility people who are like, I'm not going to do this, or launcher people who use Raycast, saying this isn't for me. And I think that's great. It turns out that I don't use Launch Bar like that. I was mostly using it for some very specific features, all of which have basically been replicated by.
You were just launching apps mostly, right?
Launching apps and doing some web queries, which I can do, and using it as my clipboard history. I use it as a calculator. Spotlight's calculator is a little less reliable, so I may just switch to using, pCalc instead for that stuff, instead of just doing it in Spotlight. And Emoji, which I'm using a utility called Rocket now to do that because Spotlight won't let you find an emoji and insert it, which was a thing that I used Launch Bar for. But in general, like macOS Tahoe has a bunch of great power user features. It's really nice. Depending on how you feel about Liquid Glass, I mean, I think clearly Liquid Glass has been revealed to be something that the focus has been on implementing it on iOS. And on the Mac, it feels kind of half implemented at best. And there are a bunch of things that they did that really frustrate me, more not from a usability standpoint, because I think people who are afraid of Liquid Glass design, and I had somebody say, boy, all these complaints about it, I guess I just won't update to Tahoe. And I'm like, no. It's fine. It's completely usable. It's a missed opportunity. What they've done is disappointing. There's a lot of stuff that feels amateurish or half finished.
Well, look at this music app, especially with Liquid Glass. I mean, this is from your review. That's unusable. Yeah,
to be fair, that is its worst case. If you scroll slightly up, then you can read it. But this is one of those examples where, and to be honest, the only places you really see the Liquid Glass really come into the fore are in cross-platform apps where they've decided to make it like music or photos. They got work to do. I mean, I'm withholding final judgments because the software isn't final. But what I can say is that I think you can be very productive with macOS Tahoe, and it adds a bunch of really nice stuff. And the Liquid Glass stuff, it's a work in progress, and they missed. You can tell the Liquid Glass stuff has been applied to the stuff that's cross-platform, but not to the stuff that's unique to the Mac, which is the tell that the Mac was never really a serious part of the thought process. Because like the toolbars, the stuff in the toolbars, don't get me started, but it's like it's not glass. It's just like a thing that floats on another thing with a drop shadow, and they're all gray, and it's just not. I don't even know, but it's usable. I just don't really. That part makes me sad because I feel like. I've been thinking about Aqua a lot lately because, a clear Aqua is basically Liquid Glass. And right. I think an implementation of something like that on the Mac, a modern version of Aqua that is not blue, but is just kind of like clear glass, it could look cool and interesting. But, depending on how you feel about Liquid Glass, maybe it's a blessing that the Mac looks pretty generic. And in most cases, you don't have a lot of Liquid Glass getting in the way.
I like the transparent menu bar. I like the fact that they have added the live previews into the live, what do they call it? Live action into the menu bar, which is hysterical. Live activity.
Oh, live activities. Yeah. Yeah. From your iPhone. So like if you have an iPhone live activity, it just pushes it into the menu bar. I love that.
Although
really
I had
smart.
to turn off,
that's like
off
an
the
extension
Formula
of iPhone mirroring
live activity because I never watched the things live, and so it spoiled the race for me.
You don't want to be spoiled for that.
Yeah. But I don't care about the Giants. That's good.
And there's a whole. I mean, they've taken Control Center, which bringing Control Center to the Mac seemed kind of pointless. Right. It was like, oh boy, just what we need is Control Center. But like Control Center and Tahoe on the Mac, they have created a toolbar or a menu bar manager, like bartender. That's what that is going to be. It is the new Controls API. Third-party apps can use it. So third-party apps can write things. They can show up in Control Center. They can show up in the menu bar. And the big tell is you can create multiple it's like multiple pages on iOS. It's multiple icons in the menu bar of Control Center that you can do a custom icon, and then you can put whatever you want in there. And so very much that is the future of the menu bar on the Mac. And it's such a great, this is the stuff that makes me happy, is when they do stuff like this, where they took an iOS idea and then they applied it to the Mac, and now they're thinking of a Mac-like way. Like, what would be the true implementation of Control Center on the Mac? And the answer is it's actually menu bar centric, and it's a menu bar icon manager. So you can have things in submenus or on the menu bar if you use the new API. So like older menu extras that currently exist don't go in there. But I think that Apple's vision for the long-term future of what goes on in the menu bar, especially since we've got a lot of screens with notches and it's hard to fit a bunch of stuff up there. Bartender can still do its thing, but like, I love that Apple is building a way for you to organize your stuff up in the menu bar. That is thing it should be doing for the Mac.
I'm also thrilled. The other thing coming over from iOS is automation and shortcuts. I was stunned when I was trying to do that on the Mac that I couldn't.
Yeah, how do you set a timed shortcut? You can do that on iPhone, and on the Mac it just hasn't been possible. And they finally did that. Plus, they're bringing back essentially the equivalent of what used to be called folder actions in AppleScript, which is the idea that
use those all the time.
If you drop something in a folder, it will run a shortcut that will look at the contents of the folder, and you can decide what it does. And that I've set some of those up, and that's great. I've talked to people who've said, "Yeah, I've got this thing that at 2 a.m. it scans this particular folder," and it's stuff you could automate, but before you would need to use like a cron job, or you could use Hazel. And it's the same story, right? It's like Hazel is still going to have an audience because Hazel does a lot of different stuff. But to have that center part of like, you don't need to go to a third-party utility, I think that is functionality that should be in the system. And it really was back in Tiger, right? But it's been sort of very Automator or Apple script centric. And now there's this new thing that's all based on shortcuts.
Are you excited, Alex? Are we winning you over? Are you about to do it?
No. It has less to do with the operating system and more to do with all the
stuff that won't work.
It's just that all the other apps that have to catch up everybody else. So I think that my delay has less to do with Apple and more to do with a bunch of professional apps that are cross-platform that take time to get to. And so again, Tahoe's in my future. I'm going to probably start upgrading things to that, and I'll let this one sit for another year. And I already have a handful of computers on 26 to test some other things that won't run without it. So I've got a couple things that are already there, and it's great, but I'm not putting it on my main computer probably until sometime next summer.
Yeah, I should say though,
but I'm a production is an entirely different world. I understand. If it was consumer, and if I was a regular just using my computer, I'd be on it right now.
Yeah, no, I understand, and the fact that like the Focusrite didn't work with Windows 11 for a long time.
You just get up with a lot of things. Like people, I know somebody just plugged something in office hours. I can't think of what it was, and yet like that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah. But it is, Jason, would you agree, or Andy, it's been stable on all the devices I've put it on. I haven't had a single problem.
Yeah, I haven't had any. The only problems I've had on iPadOS is certain apps that haven't been updated yet, like the YouTube app. Sometimes it competes with the stoplight, the stoplight menu for menu control, because it puts one of the controls for its own window in the place where that is supposed to go. So sometimes there's competition between, I actually want to full size this, but unfortunately,
that's why Apple does betas, right? It's okay, Google, get it together. Right?
And also let's shame Google a little bit.
Yeah.
They are often way slow in adding stuff to their own apps.
You point out, Jason, that the icon creators that haven't updated their icons get shamed.
Oh yeah,
in the little gray box.
If you make the little square with rounded rectangle, and you've diverged too much outside of it, they just slap you in jail, in this little dark gray jail. And ironically, the apps that have not done any attempt to look like Apple's apps, like Acorn, look okay, but the ones that have got a box that they're breaking out of slightly, now it's a box inside a box. It looks really bad. And again, I'm irate about this because I feel like Apple has so many ways to motivate developers. Like they introduced this brand new icon composer app that'll let you build like liquid glass takes on your icons. That it's really smart. There are lots of reasons you want to look like a modern app on the Mac. For them to forcibly like deface app icons that don't follow their rules, I think it's just yet another showing of Apple not really treating developers well. And I get it for the beta process, but I asked Apple, is this intended to be something that ships? And they said it was. And I think that's a huge mistake because I think it's just disrespecting those app developers. And also it shuts down the whole idea of like, I think it's very clever when there's a round rect and a little part of it sticks out. In fact, I thought it was great when the preview app showed a loop and the picture was just kind of sticking out of the round rect. Well, the new preview app is just a picture of a loop. And it's like, if you don't know what a loop is it an upside down shot glass? What is it? Like it's just, they're losing kind of like what the meaning of these apps are. And you're losing some creativity in app icons, giving people a little bit of latitude to experiment because, oh no, what if the user sees an icon that's slightly different from standard? I think that's not something Apple should be legislating with a shame box that they put around these app icons. So it's just dumb. It's an unforced error. It's bad for developers. Like, use the carrot, don't use the stick. Right now, especially, this is the last kind of thing that Apple should be pulling on app developers.
By the way, I apologize. My Google Pixel tablet is now playing Drake's "Get It Together" because I said "Get It Together."
That's great. It's bad for our YouTube stream, but it's great thematically.
I thought that was pretty weird. Okay. What else? What else do we think is good, bad, ugly? I can't say I'm a fan of liquid glass particularly. I guess I'll get used to it. In fact, I did get kind of used to it.
I'm not really noticing it, and again, I'm sure that I'll notice it more when more apps are updated to support it. But we're seeing more Apple apps that are supporting it. The thing to understand is that it's not just the standard calls for making buttons have been updated. It's that they've actually updated a whole bunch of UI elements so that the real benefit is going to be when these app developers start to rethink about how do I want to do a tab group? How do I want an action button to actually influence what's going on? And how do I want to communicate where the user is inside a workflow or inside the app using depth information? So
I have to say that first toothpaste welcome that you see when you first install it really turned me off. I thought, crap.
I don't know. It reminded me of the first version of the developer beta where it's like, oh, this could get very old very quickly. But the thing is, I think that it's good to basically go out, enter the stage on a bang, and basically announce to people that there are lots of really great things you're going to see. This is going to be make them understand this is a different thing from the get-go. So long as that's not the experience for the entire productivity feed.
It does fade. That is the most foreground part of liquid glass, and it does kind of fade away. It's just the occasional place where it's so transparent that you go, this is not functional. This is not a good choice here. Andrew Cunningham said the iPadOS 26 makes the rare software update that makes most old hardware feel new. Most older iPads will work with it, right?
Yep, my M1, my first generation M1 iPad works absolutely fine. Nice. There's nothing.
You were worried about that, yeah.
I was. Again, unfortunately. I was. It's not just that something works. It's like, okay, but is it the sort of thing where yes, you can install this operating system, but you will not have access to a certain range of features that are beyond the capabilities of this hardware, or this feature works, but you're not going to want to use it because it doesn't have enough RAM to support everything that has to go for it. But there has been nothing but upside for me for installing the first public beta, and I am a pretty heavy iPad productivity user, so I'm very happy with the change.
Speaking of preview, Jason, I like having preview in the iPad. That makes me happy.
Yeah, they finally brought a bunch of little apps
and Journal.
to the iPad for the first time, and Preview is one of those things where it used to be like you could quick look something in files, but like now it's just use the Preview app for PDFs. And I was writing a story where I had a PDF about what I was writing about in Preview, and I had my text editor in two different windows, and I was using the Magic Keyboard. I was sitting out in my backyard writing my story, and I realized I had basically replicated the way I always put those windows on my Mac, where I can go back and forth and look at the PDF and then reference that in the story and go back and forth and back and forth. And it's a little thing, but like it made my workflow that much more convenient because I don't have to go either find a different PDF viewer or use files, which is not what it's for. So yeah, it's good.
And now
can you clarify something? Can you clarify? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Andy.
I was hoping that Jason can clarify something for me. I was confused as to the behind-the-scenes role of Preview. I understand that my understanding, which I haven't really researched yet, is that it's also going to be sort of the holding pen for everything that for all the file types that Quick Look can access, so that if I'm publishing, if I have an app that uses files or documents, if I'm publishing the how to preview or Quick Look my file format, I'm actually giving it to Preview, not necessarily giving it to Quick Look. Quick Look is going to be relying on Preview's assets in order to be able to Quick Look more documents.
I have not tried using an arbitrary file type in Preview to see what happens, so I'm not actually sure what the relationship is there. I've mostly been doing images and PDFs because that's what I always use Preview for.
I love it though that the file manager is really improved considerably. I mean,
oh yes.
Yeah.
It used to be confusing as hell. Now it's confusing as all get out, but not even confusing as heck.
Yeah. It's more like Finder Lite every day, which is a good thing.
And part of it I think is I'm expecting it to be more like a Finder, to be more than Apple maybe intends for it to be.
So now many of us normies are going to have to decide, because Apple has pushed out the last, I guess, update for iOS and I'm sure macOS and all the OSs. And now I have to sit here. I could download 18.6 on my phone.
Yeah.
Or could turn on the beta updates and go public.
They'll have security updates for a little while longer for those OSs as well. So you don't have to choose. I think, look, there's a whole spectrum here. I think that the OSs are safe enough, in my experience, that you could use them, and with the exception of things like the occasional incompatibility or visual glitch or hot
iPhone,
or a hot iPhone that eats the battery a little bit more than maybe you'd like, or like the Windows server crashed and it comes back and it's like a slight. But like basically, I've been using these since the mid to late June, and I'd say they're all fine. So if you're really curious, you should just go ahead and it'll be fine. That said, the spectrum runs all the way from there to Alex saying, I can't wait for next summer when I install macOS Tahoe. And all of that is okay, right? Like, because the way it'll happen is they'll go final in the fall. Okay. Maybe you force an update then. The way Apple does it, if you don't force an update those first few weeks, you don't get it, because they're trying to like slowly bring people onto the operating system. Yeah. And then in like maybe October or November, you'll actually get the update asking you to install it, but you can still say no. And like, it's okay, right? Like, go at your own speed. You can go now, and I think it would be fine. But, I also totally understand why people like Alex, and Alex is not the only person I know who's like,
I have friends. I'm pretty aggressive. I have friends that
you're right. You're on Sequoia.
They're on Mojave.
Yeah.
Like they're like Pro Tools. So
yeah, because 32-bit apps, especially, that's the thing. And it's okay, right? Like, it's okay. You don't have to be on the latest and greatest, especially if you don't see the benefit. Although I will say again, for iPad and Mac users, more than most recent years, there are direct benefits this year.
And usually what happens is that you end up with a situation where I have usually what moves me forward on at least one of the computers or a couple will be that there's some app or some feature that I absolutely need for work. And that's what pushes me forward, oftentimes in Keynote. Apple tends to go, hey, Keynote, this new version of Keynote isn't going to not going to run on the last one. And I push Keynote pretty hard. So I'm usually like, okay. So I always have a computer that can
grumble.
Yeah. It's usually because it's something stretching things. And so,
yeah. Well, those are the good and the ugly features. Now we're going to go to the bad. Well, let's do it after the break. It's out of order. You're supposed to go good, bad, ugly. But, we don't have a theme song, so it's okay. You're watching MacBreak Weekly. We're taking a look at the new public betas with Alex Lindsay, who is a refrainer, represents the refraining group. Beta Never group. Of course, Jason and Andy, who are all gung-ho.
Beta ever.
Right.
Mostly. I'm gung-ha. No MacBook. No MacBook.
Gung is
no
all
MacBook,
get out.
No MacBook.
And me, I'm in the middle, torn between the devil on my right shoulder and the angel on my left. But you know what I decided? Oh, heck, just do it, Leo. So I am, in fact, installing iOS 26 beta on the iPhone. We may regret this. We'll find out. This episode of MacBreak Weekly brought to you by Helix Sleep. That's something I do not regret. Our mattress was about 8 years old. I had read, and I think it's true, that you should replace your mattress every 6 to 8 years, 6 to 10. Unless you don't mind sagging in the middle. Sometimes, people go, but this mattress just fits me. And okay, that's fine. But we were ready to get a new one. We looked around, we read the reviews, and we chose Helix Sleep. And I am so glad. Your mattress is more than just a place you sleep 8 hours a night. First of all, I'm there 10 hours a night trying to sleep. But that's the Helix helped with that. But there's also other things you might do on your mattress. You know what I'm talking about? Movie nights with your partner, morning cuddles with your kitty cat Rosie, or your dog Spot, your wind down ritual after long days. You know what I love? I love curling up with a good book on my Kobo. I love that. And your mattress is at the center of it all, right? That's where you spend a lot of time, more than just sleeping. Now, if you are having trouble with your current mattress, maybe you're waking up with, sweating like crazy. That's not good. Or you got back pain. That's that sag in the middle. That's not good for your back. Or you feel every time your partner turns over and the whole thing is like, was there an earthquake? Here in California, that's a very common response to your partner turning over or the dog jumping on the bed. These are classic mattress nightmares, but Helix Sleep, I love it. It changes everything. No more night sweats. We got this beautiful topper for it that Helix sells that makes it cool and refreshing all the time. I love it. No more back pain because we got the one for side sleepers. They have one for every way you sleep, and that's nice too. In fact, if you go to the website helixsleep.com/twit, they've got a sleep quiz designed by sleep PhDs. So you can describe how you sleep, and it will recommend a good mattress, a good Helix for you. You deserve a good night's sleep, deep sleep. You really do. We were looking around. We looked at the reviews. I saw one buyer reviewing it with 5 stars, saying, "I love my Helix mattress. I will never sleep on anything else." That was convincing. So then I looked at the magazines, and oh my gosh, time and time again, Helix Sleep is the most awarded mattress brand. Wired Magazine's Best Mattress of 2025. Best Mattress of 2025, okay? Good Housekeeping's Bedding Awards 2025 for premium plus size support. I'm not a small guy. I need something that's going to have some good support. GQ Sleep Awards 2025 Best Hybrid Mattress. The Wirecutter. New York Times Wirecutter Awards 2025 featured for plus size. Oprah's Daily Sleep Awards for 2025. I like this one. Best Hotel-like Feel. Okay. It is true. If you go to a nice hotel and you, it does feel like pretty special, right? So maybe that was what they're talking about. It does feel like you're sleeping in a very special place. Go to helixsleep.com/twit for 27% off site-wide during the 4th of July sale. Best of web offer extended. That's helixsleep.com/twit for 27% off site-wide, exclusive for listeners of MacBreak Weekly. This offer ends on July 31st. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. And if you're listening after the sale ends, still be sure to check them out at helixsleep.com/twit. I'm telling you, could not be happier with our Helix Sleep. And you know what? Rosie likes it too. She's sleeping on it right now. helixsleep.com/twit. All right, there is one complaint, which to me seems like a positive in iOS 26. The GOP says it could cost political campaigns millions of dollars. Why would that? Because it allows you to create groups and filter out texts from unknown senders.
Yeah, they made a change. The Messages has always allowed you to say, hey, if something's coming from an unknown sender, don't display it. Just put it to one side. It's not necessarily marked as spam or junk. It just basically says, I'm not going to alert you to that. I'm going to let you have to go and check that out. With iOS 26, that's now on by default. And basically the Senate Republicans, the Senate Republican organization basically published a memo or a note or a letter basically saying that this could destroy us because that means that our robotexts are not going to be like displayed immediately.
Yeah. Aww.
And ends with the ominous thing that we have only 2 months to do something about this. That's like, oh dear, what are you going to do?
I can't. It's so pathetic to talk about that in public. Like
they're going to filter out our spam.
It's so crass. Sending people texts randomly is such a crass thing to do.
Oh, I will turn this on immediately. Nobody texts me that I don't know, and if they do, it's either offering me a bogus job.
Well, I immediately report as junk and block.
Yeah,
I'm
just
like,
in fact,
junk and block.
And this might be the GAP might have gotten wind of this, but if I type stop and I don't immediately get a message back saying, okay, well, no more, I block and junk that too.
Well, here's the problem is if you type stop, it means they know it's an active number. So you won't get reached by that person, but your number gets shared.
Maybe
with
that's
others.
why I get so many of these.
Yeah. So you can't show any sign of life. Like that's the
no
key
sign of life. So this will be good. I won't have to worry about it. I'll just put it in the unknown folder.
If you report as a spam and block, your phone blocks it, and it also tells Apple that number is suspect. And so if a lot of people, it doesn't take very many people before it shows up as spam, and it automatically it'll automatically come in and say this is spam.
I think it tells your carrier too.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought the blocking was actually through the carrier.
If it's a text and not iMessage, I think it tells your carrier.
But you want to do report and block, but not say stop. Don't say
stop. Okay, no more stopping.
No sign of life. that's the key. That's why you never want to answer. That's why you never want to answer a robocall, is because that's a sign of life. That means that that number is good. So whether they get a hold of you or not, they now know you're fresh. You're ready to go. That's why my phone. If you're not in my phone, you can't get a hold of me.
You just gave me a reason to upgrade my iPhone. Now I'm really happy.
Yeah.
Or just turn on that feature.
Or just do what I do, which is that I have focus mode during the day from 9 to 6. And that means only a handful of people can actually reach me in real time.
Yeah.
And then I have do not disturb after 6. And the only thing that can reach me is my washing machine. I don't leave my wash in.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. You get a notification. Dryer's
I get notifications.
Done.
Otherwise, I forget about my wash, and I'll wash it like 3 or 4 times in a row. Because I can't. If I don't flip it in 15 minutes, I'll rewash it because I don't like the smell. Yeah. And so so my washer and dryer can talk to my phone, but that's the only thing that's allowed to talk to my phone.
You are a modern guy. The only thing that can reach me during working hours is my washing machine.
Non-working hours. In working hours, I've got there's like 30 people that can get a hold of me.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean after hours? It's even more restrictive.
Oh, after hours.
So you do it. Most people restrict during.
No, I don't. I have all the people that I have to be able to respond to during business during the week, during the day. As soon as it gets out of that, no, I'm not.
It's the single best thing you could do to your phone is turn off notifications. Honestly,
for everything, notifications are the death of deep
productivity.
Thought.
Yep. Yeah.
Like they just, I don't turn. Literally, it's my wash, and that's it. That's the only thing that's allowed to notify me ever, and it is. And every once in a while when I turn it off, I don't know if that person's going to call, and I'll turn off my focus and I start getting notifications for a little while. I'm like, how do people live this way? This would make me totally, I think it just slowly makes everybody totally insane. But it is having all those, and your Mac won't let you turn them off all the way. You have to have a minute. So at 9:59, if I'm still up at 9:59, my Mac goes, oh, I got all these things I got to tell you. And it's like this long thing comes stringing down the side of my screen.
Yeah. I mean,
there are all these things I didn't tell you today, and I need to tell you.
I mean, that's some of the best technology that goes into any phone or any phone operating system. Like on my Android phone, I just like the fact that the controls for making sure that no app can disrupt you that way ever again is embedded inside the notification. So like after I've set up a new phone, like I'll be under threat for a couple of weeks. But every time I say no, do never ever show me that kind of notification ever again. Okay, I'm sorry, I won't do that. Well, okay, you can get notifications from this app, but not this type of notification. And right now, so right now, really, I don't get any notifications that aren't relevant to my life.
And I don't think any of them are relevant to my life. But
good point.
But the thing is, I think that people don't realize how much control and don't take advantage of that. Like I'm still on X because it's where I have the largest following and I keep track of. But I am brutal. Like my X is different than everybody else's because I have so many. I have over 200 words that if you put into your tweet, I won't see it. Like it just filters out. And so there's like 200 blocked words in my security. And then if I see anything that I don't like in X, I'm just like block. Like, and I am just like brutal. Like block. And so I think that people don't take advantage of the kind of things. And again, on my phone and on my computers, everything is turned down. And then I go look for it. I mean, I'm checking my text all the time. I'm checking my email like when I'm going to. But if I get into a deep thought or I'm in a conversation, I don't even want to look at, if I'm talking to someone, I don't want to look at my watch or my phone. I find that to be, I am old fashioned and I think that's disrespectful. Like to be at a dinner with somebody and something pops up on my phone, I'm not going to look at it.
Do you think we're changing though mores a little bit? First of all, you can't go to a restaurant without noticing everybody's looking at their phone.
Yeah, but
and looking at your watch no longer means what time is it? I'm getting antsy. It often means there's other stuff going on.
Exactly,
right?
And I think that it is, but I think my family is all the same. Like my kids are the same way, so they
good for them.
They're not looking at their phone while we're like when
we've trained them well.
No, I think what happened was they didn't have a phone until they were. I think they didn't have phones until they were 14. I think, and so they just didn't really buy into that. And it was mostly so we knew when to pick them up from high school.
Let's see how long it lasts.
They still like.
Let's see how long it.
They leave their phones behind all the time. Like I'm surprised. Like I think that they still use them, but they just are more analog for whatever reason.
Let's talk when they come back from college. Okay.
Yeah. It could definitely change. Although I think they view it as their friends are kind of crazy, because their friends are constantly in all these social media and they just think that that's kind of a nutty place to be. So I don't know if I think that if you got into it now, social media would look a lot crazier to you than if you've been in it forever. It's that I was watching this thing talking about electric cars. They were like, if you brought out a gas car, all there was electric cars and you brought out a gas car.
People say, what the hell are you doing?
They're like, well, it has to, it doesn't run as well. It doesn't, it has to have little explosions all the time.
Stinky.
You have to have 150 moving parts instead of 7. You have to you can't fill it up at home. You can't, it's like all these things. They're like, no one would ever buy one. And so in the same way, I think that when you look at social media, I think that if you're new to it, especially if you've seen other people and how crazy it makes them, I don't know if people are newbies are as into it as the folks that have gotten that were the
John Ashley, remind me 8 years from now to ask Alex how his kids are.
You should. My son wants to build a log cabin in the middle of nowhere. Like he's just
we'll see. Yeah, they're all like that. I got him land. Still have influence over.
He's got land. He's got 5 acres.
He bought land?
I didn't buy it. My family has land, so
oh, nice.
But we carved out the 5 acres that he can have if he wants to build a log cabin. So,
Just Stephen in our Club Twit Discord says, "I'm not holding out hope this new feature will be useful. My mom has dementia. My mom too." And she responds to these text messages, "My mom too. I want them to go away, not just be hidden in an unknown filter. The problem now is Apple keeps switching back to all messages. I can't keep it in known senders only." Yeah. Is that's new in 26 though? It will leave
26. The unified view takes all of those things from unknowns and puts them behind like a menu where you have to go see them and triage them, which I think, again, maybe not exactly what Gallifrey Rebel is asking for here, but it's closer. I mean, I feel like it's gone from I need to do maintenance.
You're using his Star Wars name, so I use just Steven. Okay.
That's a Doctor Who name and a Star Wars name together.
It's a double. But,
I love it. Like, let's shout out to the Discord. They're in there. So this one, like right now, it's sort of like you can triage it and it's really inconvenient and all that. And this new version, it's like not so much triage as it is like the stuff you care about, and then everything else is kind of over here in a place you can just forget about it if you want to. And depending on how you live your life, that I think for me, the onboarding has been a little harder because when you first do it, you have to go over there and be like, the mark is known, right? For things that you actually use. But the nice thing is you mark them as known. You don't have to add them to your contacts list. Once they're marked as known, they show up in your regular list. But otherwise, they're just kind of buried. And that I think that's where they belong, frankly. And I get why any political group, any fundraising group would be upset about this in the same way that Facebook was upset about Do Not Track, which is it's Apple taking a thing that they rely on and putting it off to the side. And just because it's the Republicans, don't worry, Act Blue will freak out about this too.
Everybody will.
Everybody will. And good. We don't owe them our attention, right? We don't owe them anything.
No.
And adults will figure out what to do next. Like, what is the next thing? Like, they're going to like figure out what the next thing is. They're not going to complain about what it was.
Well, they're going to come knocking on your door. That's what they're going to do and say, here's my hat. Put some money in it.
But because you can see how they're going to do the same tricks that like the spammers do, which is
use a phone number that's in your area code.
Not just that, but the way to get around this feature of Apple is that it's for numbers that you've never interacted with. So they'll probably do something like, "Hey, your social this is from the Republican Party, and we're concerned about your Social Security benefits. Make sure you click on this link to which connects you to the Social Security Administration." And as long as they get them to interact with it once, they get past the red velvet rope.
And again, it's easy to line up something. When it happens, there are tools now, and Apple keeps on making better and better tools, and Google's making good tools as well. Just block those numbers. Like, just be aggressive. Be aggressive about, you don't know what it, if I see a phone number that I don't know, generally my phone doesn't ring. And it definitely doesn't ring at any time if I don't know who the number is. And so I'm not even notified that the number's coming in. If I look at it later and it's not something that I knew, I actively block it. Like, I'm just like, no, and so
in 26, and it's not like a little colored text like it is in current OSs. There are two buttons below, something that comes in over the transom that is from an unknown entity, and they are mark as known, which means that they will now be not filtered, and block. And it reports it as junk, and it blocks it, and you're done. And I like what that says too, because it says, look, this is one of two things, right? This is something that or it's bad and should go away. So you choose. I mean, you can choose not to choose, and they will just continue to go into this purgatory. But like, I really like that because like the tire store texts me and says your tire rotation is done, come pick up your car. It's like, mark as known. I actually have them as a contact in my contacts now, but you get that thing where it's like, it's a transactional thing, like, oh well, this is the restaurant, mark as known. Like, I don't sure,
so there might be a period of time, but
otherwise
where
no.
You kind of are adjusting it a little bit.
And I think it's important for it to be simple too, because the problem is like with GDPR, you end up with this, like, every website is like, not everyone. The good websites give you the option to do what we all do, which is reject all, right? And so the bad websites are like accept or we're going to explain a whole bunch of things to you and take a bunch of your time for you to try to figure out where the thing is to turn off, and so, which I think is actually against the GDPR, but that's a whole other thing. But they want to put you in some kind of hole, or they try to trick you where the buttons are the wrong way and everything else. And I think Apple is coming from it we're just going to make it go away. So I think it's good.
Well, when they ring, maybe it'll sound like this.
Little reverb.
We played it before, but
Pretty
I might
intense.
as well play it again. That's the new marimba. It's called Alt 1? No. Is it? Reflection. Oh, I see. Reflection has two different sounds. One is default and one is Alt 1.
It's called Reflection.
Reflection. I like reflection.
It sounds like the score for Marimba the Motion Picture to me.
It does.
Like it's a very exciting, quirky moment that it's gonna make you laugh. It's gonna make you cry. It's gonna make you answer your phone. Those are the things it'll do.
It hit me more like that scene, like in a sort of a spy movie, in which the protagonist is now like on a train and sort of looking out the window, and he doesn't know like who to trust.
Okie dokie. Let's take a little time out, and then we have more news. You're watching MacBreak Weekly with Andy Anako, Alex Lindsay, and Jason Snell. We're so glad you're here. We do the show Tuesdays. You probably know that. But if you wanted to watch live, you actually could. If you're in the club, of course, you get, I like to think of it as behind the velvet rope, special access. You're up in the balcony, and you can watch the show in the Club Twit Discord. Ironically, it's not the best audio and video. So, despite the fact that you are in a privileged position, you may still want to check it out on YouTube, which is open to all, Twitch, X.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Kick, TikTok. We stream on 8 different platforms. We do that every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC. Of course, you don't have to watch live. The only reason you might want to watch live is so that you can, chat while we're doing the show. And I see the chats in all the different platforms. So, we love that. But, please be my guest. Watch at your leisure. You can download a copy of the show. There's audio and video from our website, twit.tv. There's also podcast clients you can use. There's even a YouTube channel, which is a great way to share little clips from our shows. So please enjoy it as you feel. Just don't put us in the unknown folder. Okay, that's all I ask. JPMorgan nears a deal to take over Apple's credit card program. Goldman's been trying to get out of this practically since day one. I have a Chase credit card, so it would be just like that, right?
I guess. I wonder what terms, if the new partner has to accept like Apple's existing terms for that card, like you have to send out all your bills on the exact same day, even though that's one of the problems that caused.
That's one of the reasons Goldman Sachs hated it.
A lot of times, though, what happens is you build a system and you suddenly realize something's really hard. Someone else comes in and they'll do the same thing you were doing, but being able to look at it years, 5 years in or 10 years in or whatever, you're able to see where we could make efficiencies based on that process. And
Goldman managed to lose money on a card that had $20 billion in balances. That's you know what? That's impressive that you could lose money on that, to be honest.
Well, but the thing is, we don't know all the terms that Apple was imposing on the deal. I think that given that this is a product that Apple wants to succeed wildly, and it's obviously not succeeding wildly yet, I hope that this, in addition to the bank looking at the past 5 years of transactions and figuring out what went wrong, it's also Apple saying, okay, maybe that was too ambitious, and maybe we can lean back on that a little bit.
My Chase card is a Visa. I don't know if this means it would become, because it's a MasterCard right now, it might become a Visa. I don't know if that's a big deal. I mean, they're basically the same, right? Apparently, Visa offered Apple $100 million, according to Bloomberg, the Wall Street Journal, to take over the network. I can't think of any reason this would really affect Apple Card holders.
No, I mean, I've been reading about how you have to have a bank that has the chops to operate internationally so they can keep expanding it to different territories. Right. But for the people who already have Apple Card, I'm sure it's not going to change much at all.
Yeah. Earnings are coming, yes. Jason,
Thursday. Yep.
you got the colored ink ready?
Farm up the charts. Yeah.
Farm up.
Sure. We'll see. This is going to be, I mean, it's not a very interesting quarter, but they often find interesting things to say. We're in the saggy quarters before before the iPhone comes out. It's just kind of like, because it's like holiday quarter, and then it's like
there's two saggy quarters,
baggy
really. Like
quarter.
this isn't the most saggy quarter. The next one is the most saggy quarter, right?
it can be.
The summer is because we all know the iPhone's coming. No one's buying.
Right. The difference is that in the next quarter, they'll at least be able to talk about or characterize how iPhone sales are going, because the iPhone will be on sale then. This one is just kind of in the
much of a
dog
school
days
bump?
of summer. What was that?
Is there much of a school bump?
I think there is a school bump of a kind, but it's like I think the school buying is so spread out now and such a small percentage part of Apple's business than it used to be that it's probably invisible.
We'll get to see how effective that convince your parents to buy you a Mac for school campaign paid off. We're looking forward to that. But yeah, there's I forget which CNBC or some other site basically did a roundup of what analysts are expecting, and like out of 12 analysts, 9 are still expecting it to be a buy. I think 2 are expecting it to be a hold, and only 1 is expecting it to be a sell. They're expecting good news. Canalys actually released their second quarter. I'm sorry, was it the second quarter or just last month's iPhone sales? And it wasn't good news. iPhone sales were down 11% year over year for that same period. So that wouldn't affect, I think, their call for Thursday, because I don't think that's part of the second quarter. But they're going to have a lot to talk about, I think. They are certainly going to. It's going to be interesting to see what they highlight in Tim's prepared comments. That's always what I look at. That's always really interesting, because as I keep saying, it's the one public statement that any company makes where you cannot lie or misdirect in any way, shape, or form, or else shareholders might hold you to. You might wind up having to pay a $500 million settlement to your shareholders, as Tim did.
Yeah, and the SEC might have a problem with it too, right?
Right,
like
exactly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not necessarily what they say, but it's what they choose to say and what they choose not to talk about, and how they choose to spin what they spin. And it's become less and less interactive over time. The analyst call that happens, is now mostly prepared statement, and then there are a bunch of prepared questions from prepared analysts, and they get prepared answers. But still, it is the one place where they have to make some decisions about how they're going to talk about their business, and they can't lie. So it is still, we can still learn from it.
Do we actually know that they get the questions ahead of time? I know that obviously they line up who's going to get to ask the questions. But
I think they line up who's going to ask the questions. I think the people who are asking the questions are asking questions that they think Apple is going to like, but I don't think it's all fixed. Like I said, I don't think Apple prepares the questions, but I think the questions are prepared, and I think Apple only responds in things written down, and they don't necessarily know the question, but they know the kind of question, and they're never off their game now. They're reading from prepared, if not prepared answers, sentences that they've prepared that they then thread together. So it's all, it just feels more and more artificial every quarter.
Because that's the other fun part of it, is that this is the one place where someone can ask them a question they have not specifically vetted in advance, and off the cuff they have to come up with an answer that once again is going to be like Google's call was last week. And Sundar Pichai wound up saying some very interesting things in the Q&A that aren't like mind-blowing revelations, but added some clarity to a lot of the stuff that they've been doing in the past. Like for instance, mentioning that, okay, we're getting into glasses, but we think that the phone's place as the center of people's ecosystem is secure for many years at the very least. I don't think he's actually said that before. So that's why these things tend to be. I'm not pretending that I understand the filings or the numbers or stuff like that. I'm more interested in hearing what do they want people to think, what gets a highlighted spot in the prepared comments, and are they going to acknowledge something during the Q&A that they probably would not certainly have put into a news release or into a prepared keynote for the iPhone or whatever.
The danger is, I think if you're one of those analysts, is you like being on that call, and if you really commit a faux pas, they will not pick you again, right?
Oh, interesting.
But that said, I think that's always implied, right? But that said, I mean, last quarter I called out in a piece I wrote, I called out a guy named Richard Kramer, who's an analyst at Arete Research, who like literally there were like 9 questions about tariffs. And then he said, I'm not going to ask about tariffs. What about the problems with Apple Intelligence? And I'm like, oh, like, bravo. And I called him out. And I was like, this guy is the MVP of this call because he asked about that. And his follow-up was about court cases that might affect Apple's business. And he literally sent me an email, not to tell tales out of school, but he sent me an email afterwards saying, thank you for noticing that I'm like the only one who asked them any questions. Like, yeah, keep on doing it, dude.
You know who else noticed? Tim Cook noticed.
We'll see if Richard Kramer is there this time. But good, gold star for him. I mean, good job.
You know, I think that what's interesting is when folks can answer those hard questions effectively, they just look so much better. Like, I think that's the mistake that a lot of people make is we all want softballs, and the softballs, well, everyone knows what you're going to answer with the softballs. And you know, some of the folks that we, worked with in the past, I think that, well, Barack Obama is very good at it. Like, you can throw anything at him and he will just come back. Like, no matter how hard it is, he's just going to hit it back to you.
JFK was like that too. He used to be able to tell a joke and diffuse it.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't tell. I mean, but Obama would hear you. He'd say it, and then he would just come back to you with an answer, and it was just, and it was spot on, and it was more inspiring than the softballs that he was getting, But
I don't think that Apple executives or any executive feels that way.
Well, no, but okay.
I agree with you.
I think one company that's was really good at it was John Legere and T-Mobile. So John, he did his quarterlies. He'd let a lot of people ask him a lot of things, and he just shot from the hip and just said the way it was going to be. And I think that was part of the swashbuckler kind of feel that T-Mobile had at that moment. That he gave them because he was willing to answer. Now, he had a ton of information in front of him that was kind of constantly being, coming up to him so he can, respond with a lot of detail. Like what you don't see in those calls, depending on what, I don't know what Apple's looks like, but in a lot of those calls, there are like 8 huge monitors on a wall that are in front of them with the social stuff that's being said while they're doing it, the data points for that specific question. Like everyone knows what the questions are going to be, right? I mean, they know there's like 8
universe of questions that could be asked is
they know what
pretty
those
guessable.
Are. And so you've got a team that's sitting there firing them up into a monitor in front of them so that they have all of the pertinent data because they can't say the data wrong.
I always pictured them like sliding a piece of paper in front of Tim Cook, but you're right. It's probably on a big screen now.
I don't know. I have no idea what Apple might be getting paper. I don't know.
Is he wearing a Vision Pro?
Let me tell you. I will tell you. This is nobody cares about this but me, but I care.
How is Apple not doing them in Vision?
You can hear the rustling of paper in the Apple thing. You can hear it. You can hear them like where they're pulling things out and Tim's looking it up and saying, oh, these numbers here. Because they to Andy's point, they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to be seen as like fibbing because it's a legal requirement here. So they don't want to do that at all. I agree. I think that I think it's better if you answer these questions. That's the thing I liked about Richard Kramer's question is like, come on, like I think it benefits Apple if everybody's thinking about Apple Intelligence. And here's the thing: they have a question ready to go. They have an answer. They know what their official take is on where they are with Apple Intelligence. That might be really boring. It might not be. Usually, it's boring with a little hint of something interesting. But like if you don't ask the question, you're never going to know what the standard Apple response is.
They would prefer to do an interview because they can be more flowery than
they do. Right, there's always a CNBC person who does a pre-interview that then they run right after the results.
No, they don't want CNBC. They want iJustine.
They have control of that.
They want something a little easier for them.
Oh, Leo, trust me, the CNBC interview is not hard hitting in any way because they get the exclusive. See, that's the thing is they get the embargoed pre-release exclusive with Tim. And I'm not saying that person isn't a journalist. I'm just saying that like it is. It is a platform conducive for Apple to get its best thoughts out to the investment community, and it is what it is.
So one of the things that will probably be a bright light, of course, will be services. Apple has expanded AppleCare One to include a new multi-device warranty, Care One.
Yeah, it's AppleCare as even more of a service.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What do we
idea.
think? Is this a good idea?
Depends on what the products are. If depending on your product set, you can save money with this. And it provides.
It's really for people who have multiple devices,
yes,
right?
and it provides coverage for some devices that currently you might not be able to get coverage on because you didn't opt for AppleCare, and then you can actually AppleCare Plus, and you can add it in even for some older devices. You got to do some. I mean, unfortunately, it's not as transparent as it should be in terms of like doing your shopping and seeing what the prices are, because there are definitely some where adding it to an AppleCare One is more than just paying the AppleCare Plus on its own, and you shouldn't do that. But there are other cases where you can save money on this. So so
for 3 devices, it's an additional $20 a month.
It depends on what the devices are. Macs versus iPads versus like AirPods, but you can add those devices in and you can potentially save some money. If you're a regular user of AppleCare Plus for all your devices, it is absolutely worth looking into this to see if it will save you money. Obviously, from Apple's perspective, they're hoping that in net, what it's going to do is increase the number of devices covered by AppleCare Plus, which means they're increasing their revenue. And I'll just point out, since we were talking about Apple financials, that we never talk about this, but one of the, I'd say, decent lines of revenue for services is AppleCare Plus. Like, that is services revenue. It's old school services revenue, but it is a way that Apple makes money, is selling you AppleCare Plus. And again, it's insurance, right? It is calibrated so that what they pay out in replacement is less than what they bring in fees. And so, but still, if you want to be protected, and I know people who love it, and I know people who never ever use it, but if you are a regular AppleCare person, you got to look at this because it will probably save you money.
So you can see a comparison on Apple's website with AppleCare Plus and AppleCare One. $20 a month, up to 3 products. It looks like it's any 3 products as long as it's in the coverage.
Yeah, as long as they're as long as they're associated with your Apple account.
In your account, yeah.
Which means, like, if you've got a kid with their own Apple ID, their iPhone is not on your account. But if you've got a kid with a Mac, you could log in a separate user with your account and then accounts. I mean, there's some weird hinky things in here, but like that's why unfortunately the best advice is that everybody needs to explore this to see if it's right for them, because some people will save money and in some circumstances with some products, and you kind of just got to try it out. But they're also, I applaud the idea of a one-stop shop, that I would rather have one subscription to this than 5.
Right.
Really.
I should talk to Lisa. I mean, we could easily, I've got 3 products on my own. She's got at least 3. So but still, I never buy AppleCare, so I don't know if it's a good deal for me.
I buy AppleCare. I mean, I've stopped buying it for my Mac Minis and stuff like that because they just don't ever get hurt. But my laptops and my iPads and my phones, for a long time, we never came up short on our Apple coverage. And being able to just bring it in and hand it to somebody and get something back, it's pretty addicting.
Yeah. So, for instance, if you have a Vision Pro, it's time for a Vision Pro segment. It's going to be really short.
What do you see? What do you know? It's time to talk to Vision Pro.
This is literally one item. If you have a Vision Pro, AppleCare Plus is $25 a month. AppleCare One with the same coverage, right, is $20 a month.
Boom! You save $5 on your $3,500 helmet.
Well, so right there. Anyway, it's probably worth going to the AppleCare support page and compare.
You got to just step through it with your own devices and see whether it's going to save you money or not. Yeah. But if you're
it's not going to save me money because I never buy AppleCare.
I never buy AppleCare either. AppleCare Plus, extended warranties. But there's some people for whom it makes sense. Honestly, we all know those people. We all have friends who have the negative energy field around them, that the sort of like chaos energy that exists and exudes in every way, and software crashes and computers fall off stands and phones shatter into a million pieces. And those people should have AppleCare Plus for sure.
FX Guide has a first look at immersive test footage from the URSA Cine Immersive.
Wait a second. Hold on. First off, Well, no, we're still in the Vision Pro segment, so this is the sub segment, which is the alert Alex camera segment.
I haven't had time to go through this yet.
Okay.
But I do have an enormous amount of respect for Mike Seymour. We've been friends for a long time, so I'm excited to dig into it. It just came out, I think, just today or maybe yesterday.
Yeah, it's brand new. Yeah,
and
July 24th.
So,
okay, so a few days ago.
Yeah, it's going to be I'm sure that it's going to be great, and you're going to see more of this. So
this isn't really anything like entertainment. This is just so you can see what it would look like.
Yeah, FX Guide and FX PhD they dig deep into how these, how the cameras work and how the systems work and everything else. And so this is probably going to be, some good content to work with.
So I lied. There's 2 Vision Pro stories.
Thanks, Leo.
There even could be a third if you want to say Sundar Pichai also agrees with Tim Cook that the phone is still going to matter for a little while.
I think it's going to take time. I mean, all of these technologies take a
Actually, you already said this, didn't you? So this
I slid it in there, but that's. I'm glad that someone. I'm just surprised he said 2 or 3 years because I'm thinking at least 5 or.
2 or 3 is not that long, is it?
It's just that I have such a problem figuring out that all the stuff that you rely on for your phone, which is not just mobile. I'm having fun outside, living my lifestyle of the push button world of the future. I'm talking about like I need to do my banking, I need to do this, I need to do that, like actual like desktops, what would have been a desktop task like just 10 years ago. And I can't imagine that being like a really good application running on a pair of glasses. So I can't imagine it not being the center of the experience until there's a real churn in how society deals with computing.
I think that the other thing, though, when we think about this, you have to think about AI in parallel to it, in agentic AI specifically, in the sense that I find myself now, I've been playing with it, and I can see I'm not doing it yet, but I'm playing with. I could see telling my AI agent to go do something for me, and I don't think about go buy me. Here's the deal. I need you to buy Southwest. I need some Southwest tickets for whatever. Go look for these. Go tell me what the options are. And then when it gives me the options, I say, just buy the one on Saturday or whatever. And it just does all that. So I think that there's a lot of explicit things that we think of doing with computing that I'm starting to realize is going to go away. We're going to not, we're not going to explicitly have to go typing into a web page to do something. We're going to ask an agent to go do some research for us or do this thing for us or bring us back the, whatever that is, and then ask them to just go execute it like you would have an assistant, and I was talking to a programmer who, is a very senior programmer that has left their company and started playing with AI, and they're like, basically I have a team of 15 people. Like I just have 15 agents that are all, and I'm having them all work on different parts of the software stack. You say people, but they're not people. He's like, I got 15 AI units that are all doing different things. They're a team, and they're all figuring out, and we're figuring out how to do it. But that's someone who knows what they're doing. We're going to get to a point where people who don't, for me, still, I have what we call Janet. Janet is, constantly talking to Janet, and we don't even talk about ChatGPT anymore. I'm just like, my wife and I will have some conversation. I'll go, well, just ask Janet later, and we'll find out what's what there. And you call ChatGPT Janet, just to be clear, from The Good Place. From Janet from The Good Place. Yeah, so Janet, ChatGPT has just become Janet, and so we just because all of us use it in our shortcuts, and anyway, but but I think that that's where a lot of this stuff makes more sense, because when you're just dealing with audio or and I didn't think I'd get there, but now I'm doing most things when I'm responding to people in text, I am dictating more and more of it because the voice to text has gotten so good. It's easier for me to just say it than it is for me to try to type it, at this point. And so I think that's where a lot of this, but I think it's still 5 years away, minimum. I think Sundar is trying to not demotivate his people who are working on this stuff and they're true believers. Yeah. But I think we're talking about way further out there. Yeah. And the reason is, I think so too. 2 to 3 years seems a very short time. First off, I am a little more skeptical about AI than Alex is. But secondly, I think the bottom line is you are going to want to have somebody or something on your person that has a fast internet connection, probably has some
some pretty good compute, and maybe optionally a display in case you want to see a picture or check that text to make sure that it reflects what you're saying.
Wait a minute. What you're describing sounds similar to a smartphone.
Well, this is what I'm saying is like, even if you add in lots of AI agents and you add in glasses or you add in smart headphones or you add in whatever it is, I feel like you could, those other products are going to get weighed down by adding compute and adding battery and adding sensors and then they don't solve the screen part.
You just described the Vision Pro.
So this is what I'm saying is like in the long run, I feel like the smartphone survives because first off, everybody's got it. And second, it is a much better beachhead from which to add accessories that talk to it, that use its power to do stuff. And that's why I just kind of feel like keeping something on it, like you carry around a wallet or something. Like it's just a bundle of net connectivity, battery, and compute power.
Yes.
And then the world, unfolds around you, and you might have
can wear
glasses,
your
you might have
AirPods or your glasses.
Exactly. So I feel like that's going to be harder to replace because the miniaturization and efficiency in terms of battery tech and telecom tech, it's going to be a lot harder to replace that.
And I think you're right. 5 years from now, I think 10 years from now, when I've got my 4 solar powered robots doing most of the farm work for me, like when I live in the middle of nowhere,
you better check those moisture harvesters because I have a feeling they're on the blink. I don't know.
Before you take out the red barchetta, before the motor law came into effect, is that what's going on now?
Exactly.
I wasn't expecting to make a Rush reference, but there it is.
By the way, I was wearing this AI device that was collecting everything that happened around me audio-wise, sending it to the phone, admittedly for AI processing. Then Amazon bought them. This is the B computer. So I just got my Limitless pin, which does basically the same thing. But again, it needs a phone. The nice thing is it's a microphone you hang around your neck, so it's picking up everything.
Look, if you have a choice of making a really burdened, heavy thing like the Humane pin that's got cellular in it and it's got struggles with battery problems and all of that, or guess what? An accessory to the device that you have in everybody's pocket. I know what I'm choosing. The problem with that, here's the problem with that, and the Humane pin is a great example of this. The problem with that is who gates your entire experience then? Apple and Google. And that is a problem because it means that if you're OpenAI with ChatGPT, if you're Johnny Ive developing something, you're like, I don't really want to put a battery and a 5G modem in this thing, but I also don't really want to go through Apple or Google. What do you do? And it's going to be a challenge, but I think the smartphone is too good. I think the smartphone is such a great product that it will be very hard to get more likely to build accessories on top of it than to kick it to the curb for a decade at least, if not more.
We got to give credit to Neil Peart for Red Barchetta. As long as you're gonna, as long as you mentioned that,
sure,
this is hysterical. It's taken from a 1973 Road and Track short story describing a future in which increasingly stringent safety regulations have forced cars to evolve into something called massive modern safety vehicles capable of withstanding a 50-mile-an-hour impact without injury. Consequently, there's always the consequences. Drivers of MSVs have become less safety conscious and more aggressive and intentionally bounce older, smaller cars off the road.
In the song Red Barchetta, it's basically like they've outlawed gas cars and maybe sports cars, and this uncle lives out on a farm and he eludes the eyes because it's definitely a panopticon like police state, and they drive this old-fashioned gas car around in the fields and the roads and whatever, and then go back and hide it again because it's not legal to drive.
It's a brilliant Red Barchetta from a better vanished time.
That's right. It's I don't know.
God bless Neil Peart.
Rush is one of those bands that was like and they were writing sci-fi stories as rock songs. I love it.
Raised the quality of lyrics for rock and roll music.
Yeah, R.I.P. He was a special one. Yeah.
And that's your Vision Pro segment.
I love it. More Rush in the Vision Pro segment.
More Rush. I think we need that.
Some people say they need more cowbell, but generally you always need more Rush.
Always need more Rush.
Have you seen Neil Peart's drum setup? He has more cowbell on that thing than has on cow.
So I saw in the 80s, I saw Rush 3 times. And,
wow, jealous.
And by the third time that they came to the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, I had figured out that you don't buy expensive tickets, you buy limited view tickets. And so the limited view tickets would be like $12. And the reason is because they were behind the drum set. So if you got the limited view ones, you just got to sit right behind, and it was really close to the stage. And so you got to sit right behind Neil Peart and watch him play. And that's all we cared about. I've already seen him twice on the other side of them. So I just sat there and just watched. And it is, if you ever like, when I was growing up, I don't know what it's like now, but Tom Sawyer was what every drummer needed to know how to do. Like, if no one took you serious, like you're not a real drummer until you could do Tom Sawyer, and the whole solo perfectly, and so, but what's amazing, if you haven't seen, by the way, the documentary on Rush, it is.
Happy birthday, Geddy Lee. Today is his birthday. So
shout out to my college roommates who got me into Rush. And Geddy Lee, a huge sports fan, huge Toronto Blue Jays fan. And recently there were some great stories about how he's auctioning off all of his collection, because I think his wife would like to move to a house that doesn't have that much. So many
baseballs.
To be honest, having seen the Blue Jays in Toronto, you'd have to be a big fan to be a Blue Jays fan.
Yeah. I do have to encourage everybody to go on YouTube. Neil Peart was on the Letterman show when they had drum solo week, where for an entire two or three times for an entire week, every night they'd have a different drummer doing a drum solo with a band, and Neil Peart brought his entire kit, 360 degrees of everything you could hit with a stick.
Wow.
And it was the most amazing performance ever.
It is a big drum kit. Look at that.
Did Dave walk up to him afterward and say, "Is this a rental?" Because that's a thing that he always did.
I think he said, "No, after the show, come on stage. Neil will give everybody a ride in his spaceship."
By the way, when they remastered Chronicles, they redid Tom Sawyer in Atmos, and it is so. For what I do for work,
Is it good? You like it?
I preview Atmos stuff in a big theater, like a full-size theater, about once a week. And how I set my palette every time I do it is the first song on my playlist that I'm testing is Tom Sawyer, and it just lights up an entire theater, like like it's so good. It makes me want to do Lazarium too.
And I'm not ashamed to say that I first learned about Geddy Lee and Rush because of the Bob and Doug McKenzie album, because Geddy Lee soloed on the hit single part of the album. I'd never heard of him before. Said, "Ooh."
That's right. It's very Canadian.
He must be cool if he's
to get Geddy Lee in there. Yeah, I don't know. There isn't an award every week to the person who derails the show the most, but if there was, I think I just won it. So
yeah, man.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
We could do a whole podcast on just weekly.
It's not about the awards, Jason. It's about the satisfaction of having made an impact.
I have to say I owe
for the love of the game.
My appreciation for Rush to, believe it or not, Adam Sandler, who played Tom Sawyer in one of his movies, forced his friend to play it with him. And I thought, that's a pretty good song. I should listen to more of that.
I think mine was mostly, there's only one station that half of Pittsburgh would listen to when I was growing up, which is WDVE. And so that was like literally 50% Cume.
Nice.
like it was. So it was, so then there's a lot.
Nice.
It's AOR. Album oriented rock. So it's all Led Zeppelin and Leonard Skinner and Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's our rat hole for the year.
I love it.
I know, it's a great rat hole.
This show is traditionally
thank you.
been a rat hole.
Love it.
What would we do without the rat hole? You're watching MacBreak Weekly with Andy, Alex, and Jason, and a special thank you to our club members who make this show possible. They make all our shows possible now. At least it told me the other day, I was blown away that 25% of our operating costs come from club memberships. That means if we didn't have you, if we didn't have the club, we'd have to cut 25% of our shows, 25% of our staff. And believe me, cutting 25% of Alex Lindsay would just be so hard. I don't know which quarter of him we would cut. So thank you, club members. $10 a month. What do you get? Ad-free versions of all the shows. You get access to the Club Twit Discord, which is a great place even when there aren't shows on. We talk all the time in the Club Twit Discord. You also get access to special events and shows we don't do anywhere else. Our AI user group is Friday. That's been a really exciting thing. You know, we do an AI show on Wednesday, Intelligent Machines, but the user group is really hands-on, and there are a lot of people in the club who are using AI for vibe coding and image design and stuff. So it's a really, in fact, Alex, you should come by and show us how you use Midjourney sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Any,
Happy to. Just let
are
me
you
know.
ever available on a Friday at 2 p.m.?
Yeah, I think I can make that work.
This Friday, I'd love to see you because you do stuff with Midjourney no one else can do. We are going to do the following Friday, August 8th, Stacy's Book Club. Jason agrees. This is an incredible book. This is How You Lose the Time War, and it's short. It's really a novella.
Yeah.
So you could read it now and be ready for August 8th. Highly recommended. It really is a wonderful, wonderful book. I listened to the audiobook version, which is fantastic. Right after the book club, Chris Marquardt, his monthly photo segment. These are all club-only events. We also make video available for a number of shows that are audio only in public, like Hands on Apple, Hands on Windows, the Scott Wilkinson's Incredible Home Theater Geeks, This Week in Space. So you get video as well. We also do keynotes in the club only because we've been taken down once too many times. So, for instance, the Google Made by Google event coming up August 20th, where they're going to announce the highly pre-announced Pixel 10. we will see if the pre-announcements are correct, which they were because they came from Google. Anyway, we'll do that event on Wednesday, August 20th. Micah's Crafting Corner. I think I might do my button sewing in Crafting Corner. In fact, I've promised the club. Micah does this once a month. It's a very chill, relaxed place. He has lately been doing Lego plants, but you could do any kind of craft, coding, sewing, knitting, whatever you like to do. A number of people do cooking. I'm going to do buttoning. I am gonna get a rag. I have ordered now a button sewing kit and the staple gun from Singer that staples buttons on, and we'll do a live chill comparison in Micah's Crafting Corner. That's coming up August 20th. All of this by way of saying, please join the club. There are lots of benefits for you, and it's a huge benefit for us. Find out more at twit.tv/clubtwits. There's a 2-week free trial if you want to see what it's like. There's corporate memberships. There's family plans too. twit.tv/clubtwit. Thank you for your support. On we go with the show. Let's see. Developers can now try. Apple's kind of loosened up, and I think this is because of the EU, the rules for developers. They can now try special offers to persuade subscribers to stay. This benefits us, right? And it benefits developers. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's the thing where if you try to cancel, say, wait, what if we cut your monthly thing in half or made it free for 3 months? Or what if we just simply what if we just put a pause in your subscription for 6 months and then re-enabled it? Yeah, these are good things, I think.
Yeah. UK is ready to join the pile on Apple and Google. The British antitrust agency is looking at new European-style controls for both Google and Apple in the UK, including EU-style curbs on app stores. Apple said, the new rules could hamper our ability to innovate and force us to give away our technology for free to foreigners. So there.
Yeah, they basically declared Google and Apple together to be a co-monopoly and therefore subject to like rules on behavior.
Okay, that is a little stretch. I mean, usually a monopoly means you own 80 or 90% of the market. If two companies own 80 or 90% of the market, they're a co-monopoly. Unless they're colluding.
No, I don't know. They're basically coming to the point where it doesn't matter that one platform has fewer customers in the UK than others. It's not final yet. They still it doesn't go into effect until Apple has until October to file a protest or again complain or make a very, very cogent argument about how this will harm the security and the privacy and the features that are offered to UK customers. But yeah, it's the next step towards what Apple would consider Armageddon.
UK doesn't have the best record in confrontations with Apple. They've now backed down on the request to Apple to provide unencrypted text from messaging even for people outside the UK. Apple, remember, withdrew its advanced protection from the UK, and now the UK says, "I'm sorry, never mind."
That was after protests from the U.S. government. So that was like, no, we're not going to let you spy on United States citizens or necessarily or United States government people.
Yeah. Actually, the director of national intelligence said, we have deals with the UK. This is not cool, is what she said. No, she didn't say that, but she thought it. Blender is coming to the iPad. This might be very interesting. I've always found Blender difficult to use. Alex, it's a pretty good tool, though, right? For 3D design?
For free. It's good. It's great. So, it's a good app. I mean, it's a solid app. People can build with it. It doesn't cost anything to use it. They've gotten large donations from companies like Unreal as well as Apple. Apple has given to the blender.org.
Good.
Because if you're trying to make sure that everyone can build geometry for your virtual world, having them not have to pay for it up front is useful. So Blender has become kind of they're getting funded by a lot of companies that want to see more geometry being generated. So that's great. And I think that, obviously, I don't think Apple gave them any directives, but obviously the money that they got probably made it easier to port.
Yeah, we should be clear. I mean, Blender's always been available on the Mac, but this puts it on the
iPad. But in general, for a long time, and so it's a good app. It's gotten much better. I mean, I think in the early days, a lot of us looked at it kind of like, okay, well, it's free. It's kind of like it started off as kind of like GIMP. It was GIMP
it was hard to use,
3D and weird, and still a little weird, but it's definitely gotten much better and much more mainstream as far as its tools. It's not going to replace something like, if you're using Cinema 4D for broadcast, it's not going to replace it. Right. If most people are still using things like Maya and Houdini and so on and so forth, film work. But if you're like, I'm using Blender for my 3D printing because I'm trying to learn it, and so I'm trying to learn Blender. And so when I force myself to model things in Blender, which is, I'm getting better at it. And I
think it's harder for people who have used other platforms than the standard platforms because it's kind of non-standard, right?
It's got a lot of standard stuff in it. I mean, if you're doing subdivision, it doesn't do NURBS, which I grew up working with. So I'm kind of used to
man.
Non-uniform rational B-splines is where it's all at. And so I'm used to having a little bit more control over what I'm doing than what I have there. But overall, it does that. And again, it's always just like learning the interface, like what are the quick keys and what are the how do I get to this over here? And I have to admit, the thing that's working for me really well is, again, ChatGPT. I sit there and go, how do I do this? 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 And it just says, and because Blender is so scriptable, sometimes if I'm lazy, I'll just
borrow somebody's script.
I'll ask ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will say, would you like me to build a script for you? And I was like,
nice.
Yes. And boom, it just gives me a script that builds the object. So it's
the Blender folks say, we wanted to offer a touch interface. So we're looking not just at the iPad, but the Surface and the MatePad and the Wacom MoveInk pad. So that people can use, it makes sense, touch devices to do this 3D design.
And it'll extend to more people. I mean, one of the nicest things about Blender is that there's a huge community behind it. So like if you do want to start learning it, there's no shortage of tutorials on how to do it. I mean, the standard thing is like there's a donut tutorial that's kind of famous, gets updated like every single year, this one Blender user that just takes you to, okay, here's how you make a donut. And then it's okay, let's add sprinkles to the donut. Now you understand like particles. Like, okay, now let's change the lighting on the donut. Now let's give frosting onto the donut, and we'll decide.
Can we call it a toroid? I'm hungry. The donut thing is
toroids. Just a fact about Blender that's fun is that this year's best animated feature, which is called Flow, at the Oscars, was made entirely in Blender.
That is pretty impressive. Yeah. That's very cool. Yeah, made on Blender. Blender Guru, according to Nightscape in our club, is the YouTube channel to watch if you want to learn how to use Blender. Wow, they made Flow all in Blender. It's pretty beautiful.
You can do a lot with it. I mean, it is a very powerful app. Again, if you talk to someone who uses Maya or Houdini, they'll be like, well, or Cinema 4D for certain things, they'll be like, well, there's like a lot of things missing in those areas. But overall, can you tell a great story?
Free.
Can you build a lot of stuff for free? Yeah. It's very functional. Yeah, very functional.
I love it just because you think back to when you were like a teenager, when you were in junior high and high school, the amount of free time you had to be absolutely obsessed with something that you were fascinated by. The generation of kids that are basically learning 3D modeling and animation and filmmaking with these kinds of tools, it's just going to be phenomenal what they do when they become an adult, and now they have access to the big boy tools, because they didn't just simply have to start learning at 23, 24. It's like, no, they think in terms of how to animate this way and how to populate a scene this way, and it's going to be fascinating.
And Blender's gotten more aggressive about, how they're going to work with AI. Because it's so scriptable, the AI ties into it fairly effectively as far as building geometry and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And geometric, there's there's a lot of scenario.ai. I think scenario.ai is really going pretty far with being able to generate really articulated 3D models from AI. And so as you start to see that happen, that's really going to change a lot of things. So being able to just say, I want a pizza, or I want a house or a car, and not get at some kind of like weird piley thing of polygons, but actual wheels and things that you could animate and everything else. And then what's going to happen, of course, is that you'll be able to, mix your animation with AI, adding things like the interesting thing about motion capture, for instance, is it's really easy to capture someone doing a fight scene, like doing big moves. It's really hard to animate them standing waiting for a bus. So that's the hard thing to animate, because there's so much these subconscious little things we're doing to maintain our balance, to that our personality. If you've ever looked at someone way off in the distance, it's them. Your eyes don't know that yet, but just by the way they're walking, you understand who they are. You don't know why that is, but you'll know that that's them. And that's the kind of stuff that, these subtleties that AI will eventually be able to add something that's a certain character to, that an animator can worry about the bigger picture, and be able to have it fill in a lot of the other bits and pieces.
And to contradict what I said about it being hard to learn, the Flow team of young animators learned how to use Blender in a week. So that's pretty good. Blender's grease pencil was also used in effects for Spider-Man. So I guess it's being used more and more in this is the Across the Universe version of Spider-Man. It's being used in more and more interesting ways.
In something that's more animated like that, it makes sense. It was when you start doing like visual effects that it is a little...
I like Blender plus AI though. That sounds kind of interesting.
I think we'll get a lot of 3D plus AI pretty soon, but Blender plus AI, because it's so scriptable in its core, there's a lot of opportunity in Blender that might be harder in other apps.
Yeah. The Flow website has their workflow, if you will, on how they used Blender. So that sounds kind of cool. All right. What else? What else is hot and exciting? Adobe has added some new generative AI features for Photoshop.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, they started charging for it too.
Oh, that.
So they definitely added some features. I hadn't been doing a bunch of stuff, and I'm just used to having Photoshop do all the stuff for me. And I have to admit, it started saying you're now using these credits, and I have to say, as someone who's used Photoshop for a long time, to me, my subscription that I pay, I don't know how much a month for, to me was like I get to use
that should cover
Gen AI.
everything.
It should cover it. And now that they're giving me credits, if I run out of credits, it's probably a month or two before I stop using Photoshop. I haven't run into that yet. It's still generating, but it suddenly created this level of stress for me that I didn't have before. Yeah. And I was just like, well, this might be the end after 25 or almost 35 years. This might be the end of my Photoshop usage if it does. Because the only reason I'm still there is because of Gen AI. I mean, I can do everything else in other apps at this point.
I found a Lightroom for iOS subscription for $60 a year. That seems, I thought that was worth it on my iPad, so I did pay for that. And you get 5 credits, I think, in the generative AI thing on Photoshop.
I mean, Lightroom on mobile is just amazing. It's the difference between the picture, and I'm talking about any phone, no matter how good it is, it will probably not take a picture the way that you imagined it is. And Lightroom Mobile, it makes it so easy to turn it into the thing that you thought turn it into the reason why you took that picture. And so for me, like, just that is worth the money. And I just think that we're starting to see a lot of companies realizing exactly how much compute that all these AI generative features are costing them, and trying to figure out, is there a way that we can take the features that we can give away as part of the subscription and separate out the ones that are so expensive that we really do have to at least encourage people to use them for things that they actually value and not actually screw around with.
There's a little mismatch in the market because OpenAI has raised so many billions of dollars that they can continue to give away stuff, whereas Adobe hasn't, and they're using their own models, Firefly, and so it's really costing them, and they don't have that deep pool of money that some of these other companies, these startups have.
Yeah.
Well,
and
so I can see why they charge.
I mean, they don't have they have the deep pool of money for people charging $90 a month.
It's not as deep a pool.
Apps.
I got to tell you.
Well, it depends on what I'm paying something like less than $20 for my photo.
This is a stealth. Everybody, Slack is doing this too. Like everybody is using AI as an excuse to just raise prices.
Right.
And some of them, there is AI cost, right? But like, I'll just, Adobe gives me, because I'm on the Photoshop plan, they give me cloud storage that I do not want.
Yeah.
They keep shoving it at me.
Yeah, I don't want it either.
I don't want that too. But like, it's a thing that they can put on a checklist. And now with this AI thing, it's another thing they can put on a checklist. Yeah. The weird thing about this too, that I think is really unfortunate, is there is apparently a plan level that is a different price that doesn't have the AI stuff in it. But regular customers don't get it. Only existing customers, new customers won't be able to see it. And to Alex's point, Adobe has done a good job with a bunch of generative stuff. But like the idea that it's all going to be this credit-based barter system when you're already paying a large amount of money every month or year for your Adobe products, I don't know. I mean, it's an excuse to upcharge everybody and make more profit.
I can see that if someone was using it more than me, then, like if they were using it every hour of every day and they're pushing it, they may want to be. So if
to stop abuse, absolutely.
I haven't figured out where the ceiling is yet, but if the ceiling is somewhere, like if the ceiling is high enough, it might not bother me. But if I start hitting the ceiling with my regular opportunity, which I used to spend all day in Photoshop. I don't spend all day in Photoshop anymore. So it's usually an hour or two on average a day that I might be in there doing something. But if that starts to become something that's impacted, I can definitely see myself going, well, there's lots of generative fill that I can do somewhere else. It's not as convenient as Photoshop, but I could, there's lots of places that can do it. I mean, these days, I mean, what you can do.
All I want to say is that I'm not ready yet to ascribe this to Adobe just looking for ways to upcharge. I need to know a little bit more about how much they're spending for whatever I don't know who they're using for compute, whether it's Google or Amazon or Azure or whatever like that. But I can definitely see with a lot of the stuff that they're trying to do here that I don't know any generative AI tool that doesn't either put a cap on how many things you can generate or charges extra for extra access. Like I've been using VO3 on my Google paid account, and there's still a cap on how many clips you're allowed to do within a certain time frame before you have to start paying extra. And maybe it's because I'm in on the ground floor and I started off with this understanding of how you pay for these things, instead of like my bucking and simply saying, oh well, these should be free or these should be part of like a $20 plan. But I do associate the high level of expense in generating this stuff with not something that I should be getting necessarily for free.
Hey, I'm excited. My iPhone is now iOS 26, and my mom is speaking in tongues, which is pretty cool. That is the weird. It just looks like gum or something. All right. Anyway, hi, Mom. She speaks so many languages now. It's pretty cool. Look at that. Anyway, I'm excited. Now I'm going to put all of the texts asking for money and offering me a job into that unknown I never heard of you folder.
Put them in the hole.
Put it in the hole, the text hole. Mom, you really reached a, oh, she's going the other way now, right to left. Look at that. Wow. Chinese.
Now, does the liquid flow from right to left even in English if you're in Australia?
Yeah, yeah, might go down the
That must be in a developer doc somewhere.
I don't know. Mom is in a golden cloud. I don't know what continent. Hola. Hey. I want to just kind of leave this. I like it. Mom's saying hi to everybody. Let's see. What else before we go? Are you excited about Pluribus? That is the weirdest trailer, but I love it. That Rhea is in it. Vince Gilligan's new science fiction drama. Rhea Seehorn, who was wonderful in Better Call Saul, stars in a, well, I don't know. All I saw was her licking toroids.
Yeah, there's a weird premise. I mean, I think the rumor is that the premise is like there's a happiness plague that is spreading, and the one unhappy person in the world has to try and stop it, which is hilarious. If you're wondering why the Breaking Bad guy is making a sci-fi series for Apple TV, I'll just point out that he is one of the people who came out of the X-Files, so he's got a background in this kind of weird sci-fi stuff.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Vince Gilligan was one of the producers on the X-Files. And so I think this is a genre that he's very comfortable with, and I'm looking forward to that. And also the fact that Apple seems to be really leaning into the fact that you can make some really great, dramatic, high quality, modern sci-fi on TV. And I don't know if there's a better source for great sci-fi shows on TV right now than Apple TV Plus. Honestly, they have a really great catalog, a bunch of great stuff that they're doing. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, pretty weird though that like this isn't like part of the Breaking Bad universe, but it does take place in Albuquerque. That was
is there an Aztec in it? I don't.
It must be that he knows the infrastructure. He trusts the infrastructure. He knows how to shoot in that town.
Crew.
Crew.
And sets and all of that. I mean, a lot of stuff. This is a thing that doesn't get talked about enough, but like a lot of creative decisions are made because you know the people or you know the facilities. Like this is the famous, like, why did Magnum PI exist? It's because Hawaii Five-0 went off the air and they wanted to use the sets and stuff in Hawaii. And then when Magnum PI went off, why did Jake and the Fat Man move to Hawaii for season 2? And the answer is because they wanted to use that infrastructure. When Lost went off the air, why did they do a new Hawaii Five-0 and Magnum PI? And the answer is because they had this whole infrastructure they had built for Lost, shooting on Oahu, and so that happens now. That happens in Atlanta. That happens in Albuquerque. That's happening in parts of England. In the Doctor Who phenomenon is why they shoot shows in Cardiff in Wales now. Like once you get a cluster of professionals and studio space and all of that, you kind of are like, why would I not use those people and go back to that place, especially if it was your show that set it up to be your 2 shows that set it up to begin with.
And there's still that pizza up on the roof that has been sitting there for years.
Get it down.
That poor homeowner.
New Mexico.
People come to that house, right? And they try to throw pizzas up on the roof. This was a scene from Breaking Bad where Bryan Cranston gets upset, and it's the biggest pizza I ever saw, and sails it up onto the roof where it sits. And apparently people go to that house.
Thing to do. I'm sure that adds a lot of value to the house. I mean, New Mexico was one of the first tax credit.
Now
states.
we know. Now we know.
And so they were able to build. That's why you see a lot of stuff out of Albuquerque or designed around the desert, right? Because they have and so they were one of the first ones out there. They built up a lot of infrastructure. Netflix has massive stages there, as well as there's a lot of general stages. Same thing that, as Jason said, Atlanta, Louisiana. Those are probably the big 3 states. There's other folks that try. California tries to keep up. They're trying to build their own. They have their own tax credit system. The limit was too low, so the ceiling was too low. They're bringing that ceiling up. The problem is that there are so many rules about how to do things in LA now, as well. There's a lot of in the movie industry. There's a lot of discussion about the rules, and because of that, the way the rules are set up in combination with California tax law. On top of the breaks, it's actually someone said it's cheaper to shoot in London than it is in LA. And fly your entire LA crew to London to shoot than it is in LA. So that's why a lot of this work is going to other states right now, because so and New Mexico is a huge benefactor of that process. But that's why a lot of stuff happens in Albuquerque or Arizona or Wyoming. Like all of those are Albuquerque. Right. they're all there shot in the desert.
Did Bryan Cranston know that the pizza was going to stay on the roof, or do you think? Or here's the. I'm going to show a little clip. I have to show just a little.
I don't have your computer screen, Leo.
Oh, that's right. All right, there we go. Now you do.
Oh, forget it.
Just a little clip of the pizza.
Pizza on the roof.
That's got to be the most. You can't plan that.
That's brilliant.
In fact, that was actually not planned. That just happened.
Yeah, because otherwise you'd have to do 1,000 takes.
Because I imagine like them just putting it like 24, 30 pizzas like all standing by, and the crew saying, "Please get it on the third take.
Please
so we
throw
can
more
take these
pizzas."
home.
Yeah.
Well,
we don't mind a little gravel in our
many
pizza.
takes, but that was the winner because of what happens to the
Holy
pizza there.
cow.
If I owned that house, I would probably have a fake pizza there just to
put it
shut
there
everybody
so
up.
people wouldn't do it. That's probably a good
she
idea.
actually had to get a fence up because too many people were visiting and she was getting harassed.
Yeah, I think you hear those stories about anybody. It's true of like the Full House in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, that's on Alamo Square.
Anybody who's had like anything the what was it? We drove by the in Boulder the Mork and Mindy house.
Yeah.
And like that's 40 years ago, 50 years ago almost. So
the owners of Carrie's Brown House in Sex and the City got actual permission to install like wrought iron gates, which is not normally associated with, because too many people were, I got to get a picture on Carrie's steps.
And they're like, I got a baby, I got to get in my house now.
Yeah.
Get out of my way. And
all right, one more story before we go to our picks of the week. But I just got to ask you, this iPhone 17 spotted in the wild, is this BS or is this?
No, that's totally true. They have those in wraps in that they take them out and they do testing, and they're in big cases, so you can't see anything about the design. Although I think there's a mistake here where they got the shot of the cameras and the sensors, and that's sort of the giveaway that's an iPhone.
Yeah, but it's easier to spot because the camera bar is now so prominent and so different.
Yeah,
I think the person who reported it was also saying there was also a guy who was kind of hovering around trying to like push that guy
the body man. Yep.
It is
making sure
thick.
He didn't leave behind
That's
in
a big,
bar.
thick case.
Yeah, they're covering up because they want to cover up. It's just like wrapping a car or something. Like they want to cover up so you don't know what the silhouette is and you don't know what the color is and all that. Now, why he's out there, I don't know. But they do go out. They definitely do go out, but they're all kind of like covered up. So
and like, as he's, I assume he's not at Apple. Like, but then how does he get the?
No, he's an Apple employee.
He's got to be an Apple employee.
Well, they say that you can do anything you want at Apple on your last day.
Yep.
All right. There we go.
Good luck to that guy.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Think that's going to to be a really short trip.
You think really?
No,
he had to go out and do.
They
said, look, go out and do QC.
Yeah.
You got to go do testing.
If he was ordered to do it and he got ambushed, then he's fine.
It's not his fault.
If he was like, I'm going to sneak out with the phone, and then
no, I don't think it's not sneak out the phone. Even if he had it, like you'd be pretty careful about opening it up. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, but I do think that they know that there's going to be. This is not the first time this has happened. Yeah. Like there, if you're out in the wild, if somebody was granted the permission to take an iPhone out in public, you do risk this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's part of it.
It
he
happens
wasn't
with
careless.
Manufacturers. Yeah.
This broke this morning from Mark Gurman. Apple has lost yet another AI researcher to Meta's superintelligence team. Bowen Zhang, who was really great on Saturday Night Live, has now apparently is an AI engineer. No, I'm just joking. He works in the multimodal AI division at Apple. Set to join Meta. He is following his former boss, Roming Pang, and also Tom Gunter and Mark Lee. We've talked about that. Pang was rumored to get more than $200 million to jump ship.
So I congratulate whatever Meta HR person is a good friend of Mark Gurman.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Are we going to get this every
his job?
Like everybody who moves out of Apple's AI group apparently gets a Mark Gurman story now.
Although Although, I think he's getting it from LinkedIn sometimes, right? The people post it on LinkedIn.
Could be.
Yeah. I've got a new job. I'm hundreds of millions of dollars
people
richer.
in that organization who are telling him that those people are leaving, and he's probably got people in the new organization who are saying that person is coming. And he's wired. He's got it.
Who in the Bay Area has just bought a solid gold hat? And does he work for Apple?
Okay, just so we have a good thumbnail, I'm going to put this hat on, and John Ashley, just turn that into gold, will you? All right, he got the shot. We are going to take a break. I made it black, so it's really easy to replace all the black.
Use a Photoshop credit on that. Make it.
Yeah.
I'm putting it on Twit's dime.
Yeah, it's on our dime. Don't we have like a complete Creative Cloud subscription for you, John?
No, we do.
That's what I thought. I spent a lot of money. I think we have like 6 or 7 full Creative Cloud licenses for the.
It's going up in price, but you might want to look at that.
How do you feel about Affinity Photo? We'll be back in just a moment. It's time for the picks of the week. You're watching MacBreak Weekly with Andy, Alex, and Jason. Let's start our picks of the week with Jason Snell. Jason.
I'm going to harken back to an app that was Renee's pick about 400 episodes ago. Hasn't been apparently mentioned since, and I mentioned it earlier today. So in switching from Launchbar to Spotlight, one of the things that I miss is being able to insert an emoji by naming it, command space and naming it. And a great utility, if you would like Slack style or Discord style, press colon, and you can set it to something else, but that whole idea of like colon and then the name of the emoji, and it auto suggests, and then you hit return and the emoji
looks
gets
like
put
it
in
does
there.
animated GIFs as well, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So Rocket is the name of this. It's free. There's a $10 upgrade for all the pro features to unlock. It's been around like long enough for Renee to have recommended it in episode 500 and something, but like it's very good. You can say what apps you don't want it to appear in, because sometimes you are typing colons and it gets in your way and you have to say stop, Rocket, don't do that. But it's a really great. I really like the way that Slack implemented the kind of like type colon and then an emoji to insert it, rather than having to bring up the emoji picker and do a search and then click or whatever. And this does that. It just runs in the background.
Can you change the colon to some other character? The reason I ask is that is in Common Lisp, that is the property.
Yeah,
I would be typing that every time.
I literally have that turned off in BB Edit for that reason, because I'm typing stuff and it's like, would you like an emoji here? And I'm like, no. Yes, you can choose the trigger key, and you can choose a double key trigger if you want, where you have to double it.
It's like double colon
in order to get it out of your way. But then you can zap the apps you don't want to ever see it in, and you can also, like, it's got a fuzzy search, so it makes it easier to find emoji even if you didn't quite get the name right. A lot of detail. Like, as an app that's been out for a while, it's got a lot of preferences that you can set, so you can get it out of your way, but it's there when you need it. And that is one of those things that I used to use Launchbar. They poured that in there at some point, and I was like, great, this is how I'm going to use emoji, and I miss it. So Rocket is the answer.
That's good, because I like in Obsidian, I like to put emojis everywhere, wherever I can. So this is good.
So you could set it to double colon or some other. I mean, really, it's just a keystroke that you're otherwise not using. Backtick or whatever it is, and then you can double it, and it at that point it's very unlikely to come up, and that's the whole point of it. So you just use it as a shortcut.
Nice. I just downloaded it and installed it as you were speaking. Yeah. It's just that simple and just that free.
The system works.
One of the things I've been playing with, I am, as you know, a big Perplexity user, and Perplexity has added the ability to add a MCP to it, and you can, the one I turned on lets it execute arbitrary Apple script.
Yeah.
So I can now ask Perplexity to do things like add an entry to Fantastical, and it will open Fantastical because it understands AppleScript well enough, I guess, to do that, and add the entry. That is a very nice feature.
Yeah, and you can use, you should be able now to use the long play app that was my pick maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. It has an MCP server. So you could also use, I was using it with Claude, but Perplexity will let you do it too, I think, because it's using MCP to say basically like, hey, have long play find an album in my library that meets whatever criteria, and it will, this is the great thing about MCP is it will let you do scripting basically where the AI is able to ask your app for information and then tell it what to do. It's pretty cool.
So basically the way it works is because the AI already speaks those languages, the MCP becomes a connector to other things, and the language, in this case, the one I use with AppleScript, and that's the one they use in the example, actually.
Right. And then
makes it
MCP
possible to operate
is,
anything that uses the AppleScript.
Yeah, it's clever. And I mean, they're like with long play, basically there's like a little dictionary. It's very much like AppleScript, and MCP lets you just sort of say, here's what I can do. And then the agent, the AI bot can say, oh, great. Well, then I know like a lot of things about music, and I also know what's in your library, and I can do a search and I can get a result, and then I can perform an action and add that to your, a collection, or I can start playing it or whatever. And
it's amazing.
I feel like this is definitely a future direction for lots of automation on devices, because this is how you get, to have your agent be able to control your computer and do stuff is a really exciting potential future.
Phenomenal. Yeah. Very, very exciting. Andy Anako, pick of the week.
Let our love be a flame, not an ember. Say it's me that you want to dismember. Blacken my eyes, set fire to my tie as we dance to the masochism tango.
Stop it! You're violating Tom Lair's copyrights, Andrew.
No, because Tom Lehrer, who unfortunately we lost this week at the age of 96, not unexpected, but oh well, he actually released all of his songs into the public domain some years ago.
Yes.
And so you can get his entire catalog at tomlehrersongs.com, TOMLEHRERSONGS.com. Either if they have RAR files of like each of his albums, they also have additional downloads for like if you want to mix some of the master tapes also wound up on top there. It's amazing. It's like and this was not something that he just said, oh, what after I die? No, this is part of his amazingly interesting relationship to his career as a musician, that when he went out, he just basically decided, I'm out. I'm not interested in this anymore. I'm just a math teacher and a music teacher in Santa Cruz and at Harvard and MIT. He just like sort of spontaneously, while talking to a friend, saying, well, no, he wrote this paragraph by paragraph, in all forms and all ways. If you want to create new music for the lyrics, go ahead. If you want to create new lyrics for the music, go ahead. If you want to remix it, this is no longer my property.
God bless
this belongs to everybody.
What even an amazing guy.
Yeah, I mean, BuzzFeed wrote an amazing biography of him in 2014. That also, if you're interested in him, that tries to go into like why he made these decisions that he did. I mean, he was so thorough that even the master tapes for his recording, they were just like in a box in his basement. And I don't know whether it was a friend or a fan or a fan was just helping him like go through old boxes. And he said, oh, if you'd like, I'd be happy to like archive things and help you organize it. He said, oh, take it. Like, what do you mean take it? No, the master tapes. Do whatever you want with them. Because they're yours. Exactly. So it's really quite amazing, but the music is still
super fantastic.
Incredible.
We eulogized him on Sunday on Twit, and I played the Elements song, which I love, in which he set to the I am the model of a modern major general, sings every element, and we got taken down on YouTube. And it's like, dudes, this is not creative. This is public domain.
Yeah.
This is why I hate Content ID. It doesn't care. And the trouble is that in order for us,
that's the problem.
Yeah, some ass claimed it, and now to defend myself, I'd have to do all this stuff. So we got demonetized on YouTube for Twit. There is a whole scam industry where people upload content they don't own
as the copyright owner and then shake people down to drop their claims.
I will admit, like with office hours, I decided specifically I'm not going to make any money on ads, and so I feel invincible because I just put stuff up whatever I want, and I get these little flags that say you're going to be demonetized.
Okay, but demonetizing isn't the only option. That's the least draconian option. They can give you a strike if they want.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a strike yet. So I don't play the Eagles. So like that's the
and the truth is this scammer, whoever took it, does want the money. So all they're going to do is they're going to say, we're going to take that money that you'd earn on Twit and we're going to put it in my pocket.
Yeah.
But there's no good defense to this. It's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's why a lot of these laws that are in effect on basically giving companies like Google and Facebook and Apple responsibility for taking down illegal content. The thing is, like, they are going to create a system by which the gravity of the operations is going to be to favor taking things down, not favor making sure that they're not taking things down.
That's the Take It Down Act.
The safest and easiest and least expensive things is simply say, if someone makes a complaint, it's gone, and we'll make it extremely difficult for the person to say, hey, wait a minute, this is actually someone who sampled one of my own YouTube videos, and now they're copyright and claim the original video.
So a little pro tip for those of you who hear Andy say it's public domain. It is public domain, but don't play it on your podcast.
Well, and on the other side of that, I know, obviously a lot of YouTubers, and on the other side of that, you have people who are constantly taking YouTubers' videos down and putting them back up as their own.
It happens to us all the time. Yeah.
So there's this. So the other side.
We don't. Yeah.
But the issue is that it's just a mess. It's very, very difficult to police. That's the problem.
Alex, your pick of the week. I know you don't pick that.
So I keep my phone pretty carefully in a case with a screen protector, and occasionally I drop my phone often enough where it's cracked enough that it's that I have to go replace it. And I go through a lot of different screen protectors to figure out which one, but I've kind of settled down. And this is the screen protector that I use for these now. The best one, the one that was the easiest one was when you used to buy them and you go to Apple, and Apple has some kind of crazy tool that they use to put them on. This is as close to that as you can get, and it's from Magic John. I don't know why it's Magic John.
Hey, Magic John.
I bought so many.
His son is good at basketball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, John. Anyway, so this one, here's the deal: is this one's got an applicator that's not like you trying to figure out how to line it up. It is very, very clear. And when you open it up, it gives you a, it's just on the top of my mind because I just bought one. I just bought this the other day for mine and realized it's got the little kit. It comes with two of them. So if you screw one up, you don't have to do it again. It comes with a little scraper thing that you need. And then here's the best part of the whole thing. Comes with a QR code, and you take the QR code, and it's a slightly funny but very effective video to tell you exactly how not to use how to and how not to put the out. And it'll tell you, do not put your fingers here. Put your fingers here. Do not. And he's a little Eastern European with like some pop music in the background. There's something about it that's very super cheesy and fun, but he's got like the big bracelets and everything else. Like, there's something about it that's fun, and it's gotten like 1 million views. So I imagine a bunch of us have bought this screen protector because just on YouTube, like it's a link that just takes you to YouTube. But it's I guess what I would say for people who make the products, you go to Amazon and there are 1,000 different companies that make screen protectors. But what makes the difference with this one is the interface of taking the stress out of I've been putting screen protectors on my phone since pretty much the first one. And it's for a long time, it was like, oh, if you don't get it quite right, you got to peel it up again. And now you're going to get something underneath it. And they figured out how to do that. And a lot of other companies have figured it out, but the applicator that makes it easy for you to put it on, and then the clear video is why I'm buying it. Because they're all $15. Like, it's all $15 for two of them. Like, none of them are expensive. Like, this is a commoditized market. But I think that companies always need to pay attention to the video support. The easiest way to add value to your product is a video clearly showing how to use it. And so,
Well, especially with these, because you can do a bad job of putting these on, right?
well, it just gets frustrating. It's stressful, and it's like, and
At Apple, they have a special tool.
Right, you go to the Apple store and they've got the shunk shunk tool. This is as close to the shunk shunk tool as you get. You put it down and you pull this thing out that pulls, that allows
that's cool.
to cling to it and everything else. It's like a real tool that you put. It's as close to the Apple tool that I've seen like sent to me. And again,
that's why they call him Magic
like the third
John.
one.
I mean,
the only bummer is that every time I buy a new phone, it's a different size. So I buy another one because I always have the second one because I've gotten so good at using it that I don't need the second one. So
yeah.
But anyway, it's the video and the applicator. Yeah, there he is. He's a funny guy.
He looks magic. He looks magic.
It has like a little.
I hope I don't get taken down by John for this.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Jeez, I hope that's John.
Yeah, but see that one. It's very clear. But the thing is, when he starts putting the applicator on, he's very clear. Like, do not put your fingers here. Put your fingers onto the side. Do not put your fingers here. Put your fingers to the side. Like, and it's all things. And what's funny is that immediately when I do it, I want to put my fingers exactly where he told me not to put them.
Don't do that.
And I'm like, oh no, I can't do it that way. And so
John has become the king.
He's got the rings, the bracelets,
he's obviously spending that $15 well. Yeah, look at that.
Anyway, they only had to make the video once, and here's the thing.
This is clever.
See, and you put that thing in. Remember, he sees a grab on either side.
Don't press on it. Don't press the middle. Don't press your whole hand. No.
All things you would do otherwise. If
Just
he didn't
hold
tell
it
you
where it
what
says
to do
with two fingers.
And then you're gonna pull that out, and then
look at that.
And then then you kind of run your finger. There you go, and it starts to seal. So it's got to I don't know what they had to do to figure that out, but there's a lot of little bits
and I
pieces.
can't believe you get it for so cheap. This is good.
$15 for two of them, and it's
now, I never use a screen protector.
You're crazy.
Why should I?
I mean, okay, I've had mine for almost a year. If I take the screen protector off and take it out of its case, it is in mint condition. Like if I ever want to trade it back or give it to somebody else or whatever I'm going to do with it, well, I usually give them this one. I'm going to keep because everybody's got what they need for my family. So, they usually just go to my kids or my wife. And so,
no hand-me-downs this year, kids.
Yeah. Well, I gave my son the 14, which I use as my backup. I always have a backup camera so I can take pictures behind the scenes of me using the phone.
Yes.
I need one extra camera. And so anyway, I'm short a camera right now, so I'll keep that one. But I just, again, I've dropped too many. I mean, I don't know why I drop phones so often, but I'm using them everywhere. And I drop
MagicJohn.com. Don't go to MagicJack.com. That's not the same.
That's an entire it's a good product, but not the same.
Not the same. Yeah. Magic John, JOHN. Don't go to MagicJON.com. I don't know what you'd get, but it's not the same. Magic John. So you're saying I should get a screen. Does it feel different than the glass, though?
It feels exactly the same to me.
It feels the same?
It feels the same. It does the same. It's just as responsive. I have not had any... I don't feel anything different from the screen to the screen protector.
Well, there's no point buying it now because
when I crack it, I go, oh, right, I can just peel it off and put another one on. It's... Oh,
it cracks, not the screen.
Yeah, I've cracked it.
Is it a glass? So it's glass.
Glass. Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I should wait until the iPhone 17 and then I should order it.
Depends on how you... I don't know.
Oh, look, Magic John sells other things too.
I'm not that excited about any of the other things that Magic John sells. Like I looked at them. I looked at the website.
Look, the handheld fan with superconducting tech. How could you not?
All the other stuff I looked at, I was like, I think they make most of their money on the screen protectors. I mean, like,
what do you think? Did he start in the screen protector biz?
I think they did. I think they did screen protectors. Now they're trying to kind of like expand past the. I mean, it's a million. There's a million views on YouTube for just the iPhone 15 Pro, and they make lots of different ones.
Nice.
So I think that they're selling a couple of these screen protectors.
Yeah, with a name like Magic John, I think he got to start selling pot. I'm just going to guess.
I'm thinking,
or better.
I'm thinking you're right. Now we are going to get demonetized for showing that. Thanks a lot, Andy. Alex Lindsay, officehours.global, questions and answers every morning, particularly about media and production. He's the king of that.
We're going to be getting ready for, I think next week we'll be doing we're hoping to do another concert live stream like we did in the past. August 9th, I think we're hoping to do it. So we're trying to get all the cameras together, possibly some cool cameras to shoot it with. And so stay tuned for that, and we'll show behind the scenes if we have them all in place.
Very nice. Thank you, Alex. Andy Anatko, always a pleasure to see you and your beautiful air-conditioned library.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can just hide under the table, turn off the lights, and spend the night here because I'm not going back out in that. That's just
No. Even without pants, it's really too hot. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. And of course, Jason Snell, sixcolors.com. Get ready. The colors emerge on Friday.
That's right. Or Thursday.
Maybe even Thursday.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get them done right away.
We'll have some fun things to talk about whatever the heck it is that Apple is doing. We will find out. Cryptic things and
is there
charts.
something you'll be looking for? Some like surprise that you'll be looking for or anything?
I mean, I think everybody's still wondering about pricing and tariffs and how they view the future of that business given the tariff environment. I think that's still going to be number one.
Yeah. Okay. His podcasts are at sixcolors.com/Jason. Of course, all the great articles about 26 are at sixcolors.com.
Yeah, check it out.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, club members, for joining us and keeping the lights on here at the Twit Attic. We do MacBreak Weekly, as I mentioned, every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific. I hope you'll watch live or download a copy of the show, but I do hope you'll come back next Tuesday and every Tuesday. Unfortunately, now it is my sad and solemn duty to tell you, you got to get back to work because you know what? Break time's over, baby. See you next week. Get your tech news exactly how you want it with twit.tv. Tech News Weekly with Micah Sargent delivers quick hit coverage and exclusive journalist interviews, giving you the inside scoop on breaking tech stories in under an hour. Now, for deeper dives, I hope you'll join me, Leo Laporte, and a great panel of tech industry experts. That's every Sunday with This Week in Tech. We'll break down everything from AI breakthroughs to privacy concerns to cybersecurity alerts in the tech world's longest-running and most trusted tech news roundtable. So, efficient or in-depth? The choice is yours. Subscribe to both shows wherever you get your podcasts and head on over to our website, twit.tv, for even more independent tech journalism.